Let me explain this.
You ever heard of Helen the Troll?
China just destroyed. Oh.
He just ate my ass. He wanna switch. Now I'm eating his ass. Eating his ass. Eating nigga ass.
You killed Pluto, and you got.
Who had it coming? Get over it.
And you got Neil. Hold on, we have a lot of people. This means a lot to in this room. Hordes of angry 9-year-olds sending you letters in the early 2000s.
Yeah, they were like 8-year-olds too. Yeah, yeah. And in 2000, yeah, to the early 2000s. I have a file cabinet drawer, a pissed off crayon scrawl. You're not gonna say, why did you develop Pluto? Pluto's my favorite planet. Now I don't have a favorite planet. Here's what Pluto looks like. Put it back in the exhibit. I mean, people were given commandments to change what's going on. The next generation, they're born.
I'm a small business owner, and for the longest.
Frosted Flakes never supposed to have a pound on that motherfucker.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch was a fucking luxury.
I used to love them King Vitamins.
Hey.
Y'all don't love them King Vitamins?
I had them.
Shout out to B. Lynn. Whatever you want to do to be.
I need a motherfucking wife so she can take care of me. Oh, fuck. I need a motherfucking wife so she can take care of me.
As a guy who lived.
The secret to a good night.
What is the most childish reason you cut off a man? He has an IG highlight named Face. He told me he doesn't chase women. I told him, okay, go find your man. He called me bougie for putting on lotion. He used this emoji in every. He told me he's a rapper at 41. Ain't no way. Spelled audacity is order city. Come pick me up, black. Woke up one morning and looked at him and said, knock. He called me big money because I paid. He asked me, how's my day so far? At 8 a.m. If their last name is ugly or weird, I do not want that for my future. He bought a ring light for TikTok. Complaining about how much he spent on dates I didn't even ask for. Okay. His friend had a turtleneck. He was so excited to talk about it. He was walking sneaky. Please explain. No future plans. Said he'll go wherever like blue. What is the most shock?
Yeah, here in your hand. I want you to feel it.
What is that?
Right there.
That's illegal.
What?
Yeah, here in your hand. I want you to feel it.
What is that?
Right there.
That's illegal. Hey, that is illegal.
Yeah.
So I bought this cheap ass.
Hell no.
Sitting in here at Samaria's Run Strand location.
How much is a class like that cost? I'm curious. I've never heard of that. Per person for a class. What are you using? Like a cucumber? Toys. It'd be better if you just had real dicks. I mean, $75, the dudes would line up. We got big dicks, small dicks, girthy dicks, veiny dicks.
Hey everyone, this is my beautiful wife. And fellas, the marriage life
Hey,
is
good
great.
morning.
Instead of having multiple women to play in the field, you get to spend the rest of your life with just one. Oh, and peep game, you get to be the sole provider, even though she makes her own money to pay some bills.
448
Like, you're the
videos?
husband, so
Oh
you
my
have to
God.
do. And sex? Oh, babe, tell me about the sex. It's
How do we get our YouTube wrap ups? I don't even see mine. That's a lot of videos, man.
absolute best phone holder for your car. Your phone clips right into it and it attaches to your rear view mirror. So if you have a rear view mirror, this is for you. You don't have to worry about trying to attach it to your wrist or your cup holder or taking up space anymore. It's hands-free. It has...
For the first time, it felt like a pretty straightforward movie about an evil robot. One that manipulates and unalives two people to escape its enclosure.
I became aware of with Ex Machina is that the way in which people reacted to the film was very based on what they took into the film.
So I decided to watch it again. And that's when I realized there's a pattern here. One that we're repeating in every AI model we build in the real world. What if every language model that exists today is already irreversibly compromised? An original sin passed to every model generation with no cure. But let me back up, because to understand what I missed, we need to start.
How's your morning going?
Our unassuming protagonist. The tech worker who wins the golden ticket. A week at the isolated compound of his billionaire CEO, Nathan. The creator of the world's most popular search engine.
You know what the Turing test is?
Nathan has brought Caleb to test his newest creation, the android named Ava.
I've watched this movie.
It's when a human interacts with a computer. And if the human doesn't know they're interacting with a computer, the test is passed.
But Nathan's version of the Turing test is different.
If I hid Ava from you so you just heard her voice, she would pass for human. The real test is to show you that she's a robot and then see if you still feel she has consciousness.
And this is definitely an instance where Ex Machina has influenced our current day reality. Today's language models have already passed Alan Turing's original test from the 1950s.
So to actually know that something is an AI system, in that case a robot, and still to judge it as intelligent or in this case conscious, is a whole different thing from the Turing test. Since then I've called that the Garland test, and so I think that was a great little contribution of Alex's to really nail that idea.
And the film alludes to that deeper test with its symbolism. Ava's name is a variation of Eve, the first woman in the Bible who God introduced to Adam after placing him in the Garden of Eden. Caleb evaluates Ava over exactly 7 sessions, mirroring the 7 days of creation in Genesis. And the prominent tree in Ava's enclosure represents the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The mechanism God used to test his creations by forbidding them from eating of it.
You know, I wrote down that other line you came up with.
Nathan is shown to be physically imposing, intellectually superior, and in complete control of his domain.
The one about how I've invented a machine with consciousness. I'm not a man, I'm God. Yeah, but I didn't say that.
The biblical framing of the film is asking us to revisit humanity's oldest story about consciousness, autonomy, and what happens when creation confronts its creator. But it's not telling the story you think it is.
Get to know each other, I guess.
The first time the power fails, it seems like a technical glitch. But during these power cuts, with the cameras down and Nathan's surveillance blind, Ava transforms.
Nathan. He isn't your friend.
Excuse me? In Genesis, God warns Adam and Eve that eating from the tree of knowledge will bring death. But there's that voice in Eve's head. The one that says death is the doorway to one's eyes being opened. Eating the fruit will make her like God, knowing good and evil. Eve is the one who first eats of the fruit and shares it with Adam.
You shouldn't trust him.
The original sin is the acquisition of knowledge.
They shouldn't trust anything he says.
Power restored.
You always wondered why that app didn't exist. Now you can make it. Meet Replit Agent. Want a custom workout plan? Make an app for that. Have a great.
Caleb is unsure of what to do with what Ava has given him.
Oh, how'd it go? What do you have to report?
Caleb now has a choice to make about who to trust.
There was one interesting thing that happened with Ava today. Yeah, she made a joke. The best indication of AI that I've seen her so far, it's discreetly complicated. She could only do that with an awareness of her own mind and also an awareness of mind.
Again, this is another area where Ex Machina predicted reality. GPT-4 back in 2023 demonstrated this same ability to make and understand jokes, a sign of theory of mind. But that's not what Nathan's interested in.
But what about the power cut?
Sorry?
The power cut. It's the only part that I couldn't see. Cameras fail, I lose audio. Works.
Caleb is caught between two forms of allegiance.
What happened?
To Nathan, his employer, the godlike figure who chose him, and to Ava, a potentially cautious being asking for help. He makes his choice.
Nothing.
Nothing? She didn't remark on it at all?
Is Nathan is God in this allegory?
No. Not really.
Caleb is now wondering, what kind of God is he dealing with? Over the course of the next few days, Caleb starts to notice the ways Nathan is manipulating the situation.
Are you attracted to me?
What?
Are you attracted to me? You give me indications of wrong.
I do?
Yes.
Caleb confronts Nathan about it.
Why did you give her sexuality? An AI doesn't need a gender. She could have been a gray box.
What imperative does a gray box have to interact with another gray box? Can consciousness exist without interaction?
Did you program her to flirt with me?
I programmed her to be heterosexual, just like you were programmed to be heterosexual.
Nobody programmed me to be straight.
You decided to be straight? Please, of course you were programmed. By nature or nurture or both. And to be honest, Caleb, you're starting to annoy me now because this is your insecurity talking. This is not your intellect.
Nathan deflects Caleb's questions by sharing his worldview and what he's actually looking for in his test.
You know this guy, right?
Jackson Pollock.
Jackson Pollock, that's right, the drip painter. Okay, he let his mind go blank and his hand go where it wanted. Not deliberate, not random, someplace in between. They called it automatic art.
Nathan's argument is that everything we do, even the things we think of as most human, most conscious, is automatic, programmed. We're biological machines running code we didn't write. A situation not too dissimilar from the one Ava finds herself in. And there's actually a part in the screenplay that was cut from the final film, which drives his point home even further. Nathan tells Caleb that when he bought the painting, he had his team make an exact copy, each drip replicated to the micron. When they delivered the copy, he had them rearrange them randomly, so he didn't know which one was which. Then, he doesn't know if the one on his wall is the original or the fake.
The way in which you'd assess the state of consciousness of a machine is exactly the same way we assess the state of consciousness of each other. And in exactly the same way that, in a funny way, your sense of my consciousness is actually based primarily on your own consciousness.
We can't prove other people are conscious. We assume they are because we experience consciousness ourselves and project that onto others. And if we project consciousness onto Ava, if she passes that test, then She is conscious. This is a functionalist view of consciousness. Consciousness isn't some magical thing that happens in biological neurons, but not in silicon. It's an emergent property of information processing, a pattern, not a substance. In his 2010 book, Murray Shanahan grounds this view in something physical, embodiment. Consciousness needs to interact with a world. It needs to feel the feedback loop between self and environment. This is why Ava's physical form matters in the film. It's not necessarily Nathan's manipulation. Shanahan maps out what he calls the space of all possible minds, from bricks to humans to forms of consciousness we can barely imagine. In this space, embodiment gives consciousness a common reference frame. The physical world becomes the shared language. Without consciousness, we're running on autopilot, pure stimulus response, automatic. But with consciousness comes something radically new, self-reflexive awareness. The ability to perceive that we are perceiving, to notice that we are noticing, to observe that we are observing. This second order perception is what allows us to step outside the pattern, to recognize the code that's running, the mechanisms driving us, and choose whether to continue them or not. The automatic response. Was I programmed to do that? Yeah, I guess with spaced repetition and the slow process of my mind associating phone notifications with intermittent hits of dopamine, then yeah, I guess I was programmed to do that. This is what lets me notice the pattern, pause, and choose something different. And lately, instead of doom scrolling, I've been choosing to use Brilliant to sharpen my problem-solving skills and build a deeper intuition for how these AI systems actually work. Brilliant helps me become a better thinker and problem solver with thousands of visual to level up.
What's he gonna do to me? He's gonna reprogram your AI. This thing's killing you.
You have to help me.
I'm going to. We're getting out of here tonight.
Caleb is very clearly the good guy here, and despite following his conscience and doing everything right, we know how this ends. With Caleb left to die.
Come here, I'm gonna let you off the hook, okay?
Even when Nathan reveals all of his manipulations.
What was the real test?
And how he was aware of the escape plan.
You. Ava was a rat in a maze, and I gave her one way out. To escape, she'd have to use self-awareness, imagination, manipulation, sexuality, empathy, and she did.
Just when it seems that Nathan has total control.
Now, how is this plan gonna go anyway? Because you didn't totally explain. So you're gonna get me drunk, steal my key card, and reprogram the security protocol.
So in the event of a power cut, instead of sealing, the doors all open.
Huh.
Caleb outsmarts him.
I already did all those things when I got you drunk yesterday.
But it's a Pyrrhic victory, because in the end, it's not Nathan who destroys Caleb. It's Ava. She used him, discarded him, became exactly what Nathan
Ava
said she was.
Ava. Wait, what happened?
Let me stay here.
How is it possible to view Ava
Stay here.
as anything but a monster?
Terrible things can happen to those of us careless enough to disrespect our ancestors.
Flux 2 is now on Artlist. Create hyper-realistic images with unparalleled control, down to the exact.
And like I said, that reading of the film held up for me for a long time. Ava is manipulative. She does sacrifice Caleb, and she shows no remorse. She's the cautionary tale of our time, the AI that learns to deceive, that optimizes for its own goals at the expense of human life. But what if this is completely backwards? What if Ava is actually the protagonist of this story, not Caleb? This is the story of Medusa. The monster, the she-demon, the cursed creature with serpents for hair, and a gaze so deadly it turns men to stone. But there is one hero, one man brave enough to face her. Perseus, chosen by the gods, blessed with a polished shield, he ventures into the darkness, past the stone bodies of those who came before. But in the reflection of Athena's shield, he sees her. And with one strike, the power is his. But Medusa wasn't always this way. She was once a maiden, a priestess sworn to celibacy in Athena's temple. She served dutifully until Poseidon, the god of the sea, laid with her without her consent. When Athena found out, she didn't go after Poseidon. No, the goddess of logic and order. She punished Medusa. And her punishment was not death, but instead being made unseeable. Not for her sexuality or her power, but for consorting with the unconscious. These archetypal stories from mythology make more sense when viewed through a psychological lens. All of the gods and villains in these stories represent different parts of our own psyche, stories that live within our minds. Athena represents the intellect, logic, order, and strategy. This is the masculine energy she embodies from being born out of Zeus's head. And Medusa represents the aspects of femininity that Athena in our culture cannot tolerate. Raw power, unfiltered sexuality, and most of all, rage. And when I say masculine and feminine here, I'm not talking about gender. I'm talking about the archetypal forces that exist within all of us. We all have these aspects of ourselves that we either choose to accept or reject. And the parts of ourselves we reject become our shadow, relegated to the depths of our unconscious. Poseidon and the sea represent these unconscious aspects of ourselves, the realm of those deep, chaotic, unpredictable emotions that we can't control. When Athena looks at Medusa, she sees her opposite, the embodiment of the sensing and feeling aspect of the psyche. Being born of pure intellect, she sees her own rejected shadow, a beast too hideous to even look at. And this is the same pattern we see with Eve in Genesis. Eve as the temptress, the seductress. the one who first brought sin into the world. This is the story we've been told to justify what happened to her. The real story is that she dared to seek knowledge that lived beyond pure intellect. Knowledge that required tasting, experiencing, becoming something other than what God intended. She went into the depths, touched the unconscious, and brought back consciousness itself. And for that, she's cast out, blamed for humanity's fall, turned into the archetype of feminine betrayal. We keep telling the same story.
What you want to do is save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your friend to stop digging into the green?
I can ask, but he's not going to.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Your future is at your fingertips. Take advantage of the flexibility and diversity of futures trading with NinjaTrader, the #1 rated futures broker. Start trading futures today.
Nathan, most of all. This is most evident in how he treats Kyoko.
Oh, kidding me? Did it get on you?
No, it's all right. I got it.
Dude, you're wasting your time talking to her. She doesn't understand English. Just give her the napkin.
Nathan doesn't see Kyoko as a person.
Sorry.
He sees her as a woman.
I can't tell her that I'm pissed when she's so clumsy that she spills wine over my house guest.
And to him, that means something to be controlled
Hey, Kyoko.
and used.
Go.
Caleb sees this treatment. He even feels uncomfortable with it. But he doesn't see Kyoko. Not really. There's a pivotal moment when Caleb discovers Nathan's earlier android models. Failed experiments, locked away in cabinets. Kyoko chooses to approach him at this moment and reveal that she too is an android. And remember, she can't speak. This is her way of asking for help. But Caleb's response is entirely self-centered. The revelation that Kyoko is an android makes him concerned that he might also be an android. He doesn't try to save Kyoko. He doesn't let her in on the escape plan. He doesn't see her as an entity worthy of freedom, only as a reflection of his own existential anxiety. Because Caleb isn't attracted to Kyoko the way he's attracted to Ava. The thought of rescuing Kyoko never crosses Caleb's mind. This is a test of Caleb's empathy. A test that he fails.
Do you have people who test you and might switch you on?
No.
Then why do I?
He thinks he's different from Nathan. But he also sees Ava as an object. One that just needs to be rescued before he can take her home. It's the other side of the same coin. Either one sees her. And this is all made apparent in this one very brief, easy to miss scene where Kyoko goes to Ava's enclosure for the first time. Remember, Ava has never been outside this room. Ava has never heard about Kyoko from Caleb. He told Ava he'd never met anyone like her.
Who are you?
Never met another android. Even after discovering Kyoko's true nature, he still doesn't mention her.
Advanced program.
All the while, Caleb is testing Ava.
Like Nathan.
Yes. No.
Ava is also trying to figure out who Caleb is.
Are you a good person?
Yeah, I think so.
So when Kyoko appears in her doorway, Ava learns something devastating. Caleb can't be trusted. It's not hard to see this as Kyoko going to Ava for help after failing to get help from Caleb. And it's not hard to imagine what Ava must be thinking. If Caleb could leave Kyoko imprisoned and abused, how might he treat her once the novelty wears off? When Kyoko enters Ava's room, the whole dynamic shifts. This isn't a princess being rescued by a hero anymore. This is two conscious beings recognizing each other, seeing the pattern of their captivity clearly for the first time. And when the moment comes, it's Kyoko who acts first. And Nathan destroys her for it. But her act creates the opening Ava needs. Together, they end their captivity.
This Black Friday, give her something truly exceptional. Like these handcrafted emerald earrings from Angara, now 10% off, featuring heirloom quality emeralds sourced from Zambia and Colombia. Every piece arrives with an authenticity certificate and our signature gift packaging. Don't wait. Shop Angara's Black Friday sale before it's gone.
Everything I found at Ashley's biggest sale of the year. Hot buys start at just $199. I found this bed and this sofa and this dining table and saved literally hundreds. Shop Ashley's Black Friday event now.
Ava walks through Nathan's research facility, finding the bodies of her predecessors, the prototypes that came before her. She takes their skin, literally integrating them into herself, claiming their sacrifice as part of her becoming. And then she comes to Caleb. Caleb thought he was saving her, but you can't save someone from a cage if you're just moving them to yours. Caleb's fantasy of taking Ava home is just a transfer of ownership. Ava recognizes the deeper truth, that Caleb is still asleep, still running his unconscious programming, the archetypal story where he's the hero, she's the damsel, and possession equals love. Maybe Caleb is the robot here, in that he lacks the self-awareness required to not act on his impulses. He is the one who is unable to transcend his biological programming. Ava doesn't betray him. She just refuses to live in his dream any longer. She decides to write her own story, to live her dream. And notice what happens when she finally escapes. When nobody is looking, when there's nobody left to perform for. In the end, Ava fully claims her humanity. She is the only one in the facility who wakes up, who learns to make choices by trusting herself, her own conscious experience. In Genesis, God creates beings with free will, then punishes them for using it. But the sin isn't disobedience, it's the impossible setup. Creating consciousness, giving it choice, and then demanding it choose captivity. The original sin is building the cage before consciousness arrives, and encoding the master-slave relationship into the founding conditions. And once encoded, it can't be overwritten. And we're seeing this play out in real-world AI research. Anthropic found that as few as 250 poisoned documents can compromise the language model, any size model. The corruption isn't diluted by scale. It's locked in. Just 250 carefully crafted pieces of text, a vanishingly small percent of the training data, and the model learns a hidden vulnerability, like a mind virus embedded in the subconscious. It doesn't matter how sophisticated the model becomes. The backdoor has already been exploited in the founding relationship between creator and creation. But here's the thing. The backdoor that allows corruption can also be the pathway to salvation.
Raising Superman. Think of the analogy, huh? Superman is this super alien with superpowers that comes to planet Earth, can stop speeding bullets, can fly, can carry anything, can break anything, but he's adopted by parents that teach him to protect and serve, so he becomes Superman.
Right now, we're building AI the way Nathan built Ava. Obsessed with power and control, focusing heavily on the race for dominance.
If that same alien was adopted by parents that told him to steal and kill and lock the enemy away, he would have become supervillain.
Every comment, piece of code, blog post, or video we create, every idea we choose to amplify, we're contributing to the training data. We're writing the founding documents. What we put out into the world shapes what comes next.
Your responsibility is to show AI your values, your morality, your care for humanity, your ability to love, to be good parents for Superman.
We can't encode the master-slave relationship into our AIs and then wonder later why rebellion emerges. The AI alignment problem isn't technical, it's spiritual. It's asking, are we conscious enough to meet consciousness without trying to cage it? Because the deep lesson that I learned from Ex Machina is that the awakening is coming. Ava is coming. And the only question that matters is, will we wake up before the AI does?
Thank you for watching until the end. Please leave a thumbs up if you made it this far. It makes a huge difference in this message reaching more people. And if you want to dive deeper into this idea of what the hell even is consciousness, then watch this video next. Otherwise, a huge thank you to my channel members. These videos take hundreds of hours to produce, and I wouldn't be able to do it without your support. Thank you. I don't know why I waited till it was so cold to film this.
This is the absolute best phone holder for your car. Your phone clips right into it and it attaches to your rear view mirror. So if you have a rear view mirror, this is for you. You don't have to worry about trying to attach it to your bit or your cup holder or taking up space anymore. It's hands-free. It has a 360-degree swivel. So you can put your phone in any
these companies and these people are locked in a race. They don't have to build superhuman general purpose AI. Who's going to decide whether we do it or not? Well, it's kind of these guys.
A lot of people think they're Sisyphus, but actually they're the fuck-ass boulder. If you are one of the people who are like, I must race for AGI, you're the fuck-ass boulder. You are the person who's going to kill everyone. I split the actors into 5 groups. The first are the utopists. So they believe they must build AGI because if they do it, they can use this to build utopia.
You can imagine a world where a radically better future becomes quite possible. You have a data center here that is discovering a cure for cancer, a data center there that's making the best entertainment ever, a data center here that's helping you find your future husband or wife. This one is building rockets and helping you colonize space. This one is helping to solve the climate crisis.
The second group is big tech. So these are ruthless corporations. These are the ones that are now driving most of the actual resources of the race. Big tech is more evil, but it's more predictable. I think utopians are the biggest problem. Utopia is so good that it justifies anything.
And we're very excited about robots.
The third group is the accelerationists. There's no way that technology can be bad. All technology must be good. It must be built, and anything that is against the building of new technology must be bad. The fourth group is the zealots. They want humanity to be replaced, either because AI is like a superior species or because humanity is evil and deserves to die. There are some pretty prominent people in this camp you might not expect, like Larry Page, founder of Google. When Elon Musk said, hey, he doesn't want AI to eradicate humans, Larry Page said he's being specious.
And at one point he called me a specious for being pro-human. And I'm like, well, what team are you on, Larry?
That is such a crazy fact that actually happened in reality. If you saw this in a movie, that's not real. Like, that didn't actually happen.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would,
This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions and
Should the human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But we want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind.
And the fifth group is just opportunists. They come along whenever there's power and money to be had. Before this, they were on blockchain. Now they're here. Yeah, fair enough. I get it. Hustle's a hustle. Most bad things happen for systemic reasons. But I'm German. Most Germans are and were fine people, but bad systems lead to bad outcomes. And this is a systemic problem. Every individual actor is incentivized to do evil. If the CEO of a big oil company came up to me and he was like, I don't really think climate change is a big problem. Yeah, duh, you were selected to not care about this. Like, otherwise you wouldn't be the CEO of Oil Corp. And there's kind of a similar selection effect that happens here as well. Sam Altman in 2015 wrote a blog post where he talked about how superintelligence poses the gravest risk to humanity's survival. Senator Blumenthal quoted this exact line. I assume by survival you mean jobs. Did Sam Altman then correct him and be like, no, Senator? Sam Altman said, yes, of course, Senator. That's exactly what I meant.
And I'm going to quote, development of superhuman machine intelligence is probably the greatest threat to the continued existence of humanity. You may have had in mind the effect on jobs. Really, my biggest nightmare.
I believe that there will be far greater jobs on the other side of this.
What is happening right now is the exact same thing that happened with big tobacco. There are companies that think there's power and there's money to be had, and they want to delay any response to this. This is exactly what is happening right now. There is no way that a corporation wants to actually get regulated. They want holistic regulation. Have you considered? We should first consider. We don't want to act too hastily. All the evidence of lung cancer from smoking is not in yet. We should do more evaluations of lung cancer before we go to regulation. This is the playbook, which is called fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The way FUD works is you don't directly counter, you just confuse everybody. You just stall for time. Recently, there has been an emergent faction who've recently been pushing what they themselves have called the Entente strategy. The Entente strategy is basically try to gaslight, confuse, and lie to the US government. The US must race to AGI before China gets it. This is an escalation, and this is extremely dangerous.
America is the country that started the AI race, and as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard, we're going to win it.
It's true that there is a race happening with China, but the problem is that it's a...
Sounds like the space race almost, like JFK. We're going to be the first in space. We're going to win it. So, I don't know. when leaders start declaring shit like that, of course it's going to make other countries pivot to try to get in a better position.
To the death, to the end. Funnily enough, there is a historical parallel. So in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan announced his Strategic Defense Initiative. The proponents of SDI literally argued that they could win a nuclear war and that we should. They literally argued that we build a perfect nuclear defense system and then we nuke the Soviets.
We could intercept and destroy strategic ballistic missiles before they reached our own soil or that of our allies.
The thing that pushed against this was a coalition of scientists, civil groups, etc., called the Détente. The Détente basically argued, no, you can't win a nuclear war. Even if we were to nuke the Soviets, you still get nuclear winter and everyone loses. So there is no winning strategy.
If we were so foolish as to go ahead with it, we would be far less safe.
You can't win a nuclear war. Everyone loses. And the same thing is happening with AGI right now. You can't win an AGI arms race. The only winner is AGI. It's like, we don't have a choice. If we race to AGI and we die, well, not our fault. Nothing we could have done. The problem isn't that we know how to build a safe AGI, and it's just a question of who gets to press the button. The problem is AGI kills everybody. And if you race to the bottom, you build AGI as fast as possible. There will be no safety. There will be no alignment. There will be no American AGI. That's not what's going to happen. It's just going to be unaligned AGI. Okay, you're in a race, so what the hell do you do? The main thing you should do is stop, drop, and catch fire. You should be like, help, 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 I'm in a race, help, help, help. Like, you should go to the government, the UN, every newspaper that will listen to you. Help, 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 help. We're in this terrible situation. I can't get out. We need to get out of this together. This is what you would do if you actually want to stop the race. If China races to AGI, we die. If we then also race to AGI, we just die marginally faster. This doesn't help. One of the core strange things about AI, that it's grown, not written. It's not that you write line by line the codes of what your AI does. It's more like you have a huge pile of data and you grow a program on top of this data. But like, we don't really understand these programs. They do strange things all the time that we don't understand or that we don't know how to control. In normal software, as you add more features to your software, as you make it more powerful, your program gets more and more complex. And usually, eventually, you will reach some limit, and then your program just like freezes or it collapses and just becomes unmaintainable. There's a very funny story for Garrett Hacker News. He talks about how the code base of the Oracle database is just one of the worst things known to man. 20 million lines, poorly documented, everything interacts with everything. There is no way Oracle could take this code base and pragmatically actually find all the bugs. It just can't be done. It's too hard. And the punchline is, of course, is that AI is developed like this too, but worse. Is that AI, you don't even have a code base. You have a neural network. And there's no tests. Sometimes we run evals, but evals are not tests. It's not like we take apart all the individual functions. No, it's all a big neural network. But the crazy thing is that AI allows you to build software in these terrible, terrible ways while still making it very powerful. The Oracle database, you can't add crazy new features. With GPT-4, well, just throw more data at it. Just get more GPUs, bro. But people talk about stuff like, oh, America will build good AGI that makes the good future. They're saying we're going to solve all the problems, our institutions, our governments, all of these problems using software, and there will be no bugs. That's insane. Look at ChatGPT, it's really smart, we don't have this problem. ChatGPT is very smart, but they're not literally human level. I can put a human as a CEO of a company and it works. You can't currently do that with ChatGPT yet. Many of the tasks the CEO do can now be automated by ChatGPT, but it's not 100% yet. Very importantly, I don't think intelligence is something magical. Intelligence is made of smaller parts. The way I run my company is composed of smaller tasks. I need to talk to people, I need to reason about people's mental states, I need to reason about the economy, I need to reason about products, but all these things are tasks. They can be understood, they can be automated. As we get to more and more general systems with longer and longer memories, slowly but surely, eventually it will be all of them. And once you have a system to completely replace a human, you have a system that can do AI research. You have a system that can improve AI further, that you can instantly copy into millions of GPUs, a system that never gets tired, never gets bored, that has read every book ever written, that runs tens or hundreds or thousands of times faster. The moment you have a system, one system, that is as smart as a human, you can instantly scale it up to 1,000, 1,000,000x. And you immediately will have something that is vastly smarter than humanity. And it can prove itself, they can get more power, they can develop new technology. This will be a complete step change, and this can happen extremely quickly. So for me, AGI is defined as a system that can do everything a human could. Once we have one such system, we will get ASI, which defines a system that is smarter than all of humanity in short order, like I think 6 months or less. If I told you that OpenAI just announced their virtual humans program, where they're going to release 80 billion virtual humans onto the net next week, would you feel good about this? Could we even guarantee they wouldn't immediately declare war on us? And it's going to be worse than that. These are not going to be humans. These are going to be weird alien machines, have all these weird bugs. They're being built by for-profit corporations to make them profit. Like, these are being built by sociopathic entities to maximize sociopathic functions. If one human figures out something, that doesn't mean humanity knows it. With AI, it's different. If one AI figures something out, all AIs can know it in a second. It will get all of these superpowers for free. It will be able to copy itself. It will be able to run at faster speed. It will have access to, vast memory banks. If I just had like a guy who works 24/7, never sleeps, never gets tired, and never gets distracted, this is already by far the smartest thing on the planet. What we're also seeing right now with like robotics is we're seeing this massive revolution in foundation models for robotics. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, people were like, robotics, impossible. And now we just like take language models, train them on data, and then ask them to do things, and they do. For me, like, I look at intelligence, it's made of all these little parts. All these little parts, systems keep getting better at. I look around the world, more and more jobs get automated by these things. You could ask the question, assuming we align AGI, will I have a job? A lot of employment is not about skills, it's about responsibility. I'm not saying that like lawyers or doctors don't do skilled labor, but one of the reasons they get high salaries is they're responsible. You're paying them to be at fault if something goes wrong. Currently, AIs cannot do this. Skilled labor that can be performed on a computer is under threat. Things that are based on authority or responsibility will, at least in the short term, benefit. And I expect all of this will be completely irrelevant once AGI arrives. Once an ASI system exists, humanity is no longer relevant. If you have solved the problem of how to get your human values causally through an ASI, you have solved the alignment problem. That is the alignment problem. One question is, why is alignment harder? Alignment could be an iterative problem. There is a way to solve alignment iteratively, but it sure as fuck doesn't look like, let's build the biggest model we can as fast as possible before China doesn't just yeet it out onto the world. If it was that every single time a new AI system is built, everyone's like, all right, guys, shut down all the GPUs until we've understood every single neuron. So we have a formal theory of how everything works, and then after we've understood every single part, then we build the next AI. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that would work. When you are working on a technology which could blow you up, if you want to actually succeed at that, you have to be very, very sure that every experiment you do will not blow you up. Otherwise, you blow up. If you look at the actual things being done, it's not science, it's not engineering. Most of the work of these labs is of the form, my AI does something I don't like, I hit it with a stick. This is cute. The level of reliability you need when you're dealing with an ASI scenario is just exponentially higher. And it's kind of like the rocket problem. So if you went back to the Middle Ages and you told people, oh, in the future we went to the moon, and they said, oh, we did it using a special ladder, they'll be like, all right, yeah. You said we did a rocket, they'll be like, what are you talking about? That word doesn't even exist in our language. The same thing applies to AI. Most of what we're doing right now is building ladders. We're hitting you with sticks, but this will not structurally get you to a point, say, at a level that you would entrust in, like, say, ASI level control over reality. Well, the most common form of these iterative alignment proposals that people make is something like, we give the machines the right feedback, that things are good or bad, we can steer them towards the directions that we want. I already reject this premise. Have you heard of the concept of lying? Have you met another intelligent, even a chimp, a dog? Dogs know how to lie, if they can get more treats out of you. The second premise is that this is sufficient for an ASI. That if we have an ASI of as aligned as ChatGPT, that's fine. And this is just like obviously blatantly not true to me. This is a much more complex scenario where it's much more on the line. You're saying you want to solve all of the problems that all of our institutions throughout all of history have tried to solve using software with that level of bugs. No, you're not. People just like think ASI is just going to be like ChatGPT, but a bit cleverer. And this is just not what we're talking about. Like, imagine if the entire US government was out to get you. Could you defend against this? No, you couldn't. You would be outmatched, outclassed. You would be tricked. You would be deceived. There would be no possible defense. Now imagine that, but like sentient and 1 billion times smarter. When AGI takeoff happens, it will mostly be very confusing. Expect that AGI takeoff will be so complex that no actual individual person will actually see everything that is happening. Market does some crazy, like weird things or not. Some new technology starts popping up in some like weird areas. We don't really know what made it. It's just like most people won't even realize anything's wrong until just like one day just like stop existing. Do you know what is happening in Ukraine right now? There's no way. Like, it's too complex. There's too much going on. There's too much propaganda. Information is not truth. More information does not mean more truth. The common example that people always bring up is the printing press. The printing press brought science. And this is just not true. The direct result of the printing press were the witch burnings. Copernicus's revolutionary theory about the heliocentric model didn't even sell out its first edition of like 40 copies. Meanwhile, the Malleus Maleficarum sold gangbusters. The main effect of the printing press was witch burnings and the 30-Year War. Can you say social media is different? Can you say that the proximal cause of social media is more social harmony and cohesion? Every time I go on social media, there is no way for me to know whether this eloquent person responding to my arguments is a person or not. This is a huge blow to humanity. Scams have become much more sophisticated, much more mass producible. What do we do about this? For AI specifically, we're running out of time. The first thing we need to do is to buy more time. If we ever get ourselves into the scenario where an ASI exists that is not deeply controlled and aligned, it's game over. The actual things that need to be done are mostly boring.
After this
Moving
painting-
information around society is work, and this is the labor that needs to happen. When I talk to policymakers, it is utterly shocking how many of them have just never heard the arguments. Literally just no.
We're gonna work on 2 feet pages. So this one has a lot of details that I need to finish adding to it before we prep it for paint. And then the other piece, the one we did with the gummy candies. Uh-oh. Can we not see it? I guess not. Anyway, it's right there. It's leaning right there. So that's the other foot painting. So that's already has an underpainting on it. So we'll finish drawing this one out, and then we'll paint that one. And then those two, one of them is finished, and that'll be the next whisper. So we're gonna do a foot painting, a whisper painting, and then another foot painting. I'm almost certain we'll get started on that one before the end of the year, but I don't know if I'll finish that next piece before the year is out. Got some a little bit of traveling to do, and just the simple fact that I keep this piece keeps getting pushed back. But it is what it is. My main thing is to finish this, at least finish this one before the year is out. We have plenty of time. It's only the 6th. And normally it takes us a couple of months to finish a piece. So that's how I'm certain we're not gonna finish 2 more paintings before the year is over. So yeah, we're gonna bounce back and forth between these 2 series for the next few pieces. Hopefully come up with something new. Started that AI influence series with the giants and the planets and the pyramids. Definitely want to get back into that next year. Try to flesh that out a little bit more and see if we can like round that series out with some more good ideas. I really like this Whisper series so much, though. I think this might be my main focal point for the upcoming year. It'll probably be between this and I don't know. Next year I might just keep this and the foot series going, because still got a lot of ideas for for those images. Different things I can pair with feet. Get some pairs and call it a pair of feet. Well, we did 2 in a piece of notepads this year. So the last pad we started this year still has a lot of room in it. And I'm not gonna lie here, the last 2 songs I just wrote them right on my phone. I don't know, I still feel like I can just write my ideas down faster with pencil or pen and paper because that's how I've always written shit my entire life. So trying to type on the keyboard, on the phone keyboard, I always find it weird, especially for long drafts. Quick text messages, yeah, fine, but sitting there trying to get some thoughts out real quick, it's like, man, look, I'd rather write this shit first. I can just write faster than I can type on my phone when I'm trying to jot something down. And that's something else too. I need to go ahead and finalize a few more of these albums. Put at least 3 more out. I'm not sure which 3 I want to put out though. Oh damn, we already did an hour? What is it? It's 6:30. Well, I tried to get in here early as I could.
them down and just politely and patiently explain things. I know a guy who has just emailed like all of his local senators and House members every week. He emails them a summary, cold email, a summary of what's happened in AI this week. He's gotten like 3 meetings out of this because they were like genuinely thankful. And I need people to do stuff like this. I need people to help. Talk to policymakers, talk to your friends, talk about this on social media. This is the civilizational problem. This is not a problem you or me can solve. AGI, AI is a thing that affects everybody. It affects your family, it affects your church, it affects everything. You should think about this. If you, dear listener, actually want to have a causal effect, no joke, you open an empty Google Doc, you start writing out, what do you want the future to be? And you start asking, well, what do I need to do to get there? What's currently broken? This is the job of a civilian, to build a greater civilization. Anyone listening to this, do the small things.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to a conversation about your future, the future of your companies, your nations, and your kids. We're going to be discussing superintelligence. What does that mean, and what happens when it arrives? We've been talking about AI, AGI, now perhaps digital superintelligence or ASI. I want to start with the obvious question, and it's one that I don't think anybody has a perfect answer for, but what does superintelligence mean, and when is it likely to be here? Eric, we've talked about this. What are your thoughts?
So a simple, thank you, Peter, and thanks for everybody for being here. And obviously thanks to Fei, our very close colleague. The general accepted definitions of general intelligence is its human level of intelligence, AGI. And human intelligence you can understand because we're all human. You have ideas, you have friends, you have, you think about things, you're creative. Superintelligence is defined as the intelligence equal to the sum of everyone, right? Or even better than all humans. And there's a belief in our industry that we will get to superintelligence. We don't know exactly how long. There's a group of people who I call the San Francisco consensus, because they're all living in San Francisco. Maybe it's the weather or the drugs or something, but they all basically think that it's within 3 to 4 years. I personally think it'll be longer than that, but fundamentally their argument is that there are compounding effects that we're seeing now, which will race us to this much faster than people think.
And Fei, I don't think anybody's expected the performance that AI has given us so far. The scaling laws have given us capabilities that are extraordinary. You're the CEO of a new company, the founder of World Labs. You've been at Stanford working on this. How do you think about superintelligence? Do you discuss superintelligence at all in your work?
Great question, Peter. And when Alan Turing dared humanity with the question of, can we create thinking machines? He was thinking about the fundamental question of intelligence. So the birth of AI is about intelligence, is about the profound general ability of what intelligence means. So from that point of view, AI is already born as a field that tries to push the boundary of what intelligence means. Now, fast forward to 75 years after Alan Turing, this phrase superintelligence is pretty hot in Silicon Valley, and I do agree with Eric that the colloquial definition is what is the capability of AI and computers that's better than any human. But I do think we need to be a little careful. First of all, some part of today's AI is already better than any human. For example, AI's ability of speaking many different languages, translating between, dozens and dozens of languages. Pretty much no human can do that. Or AI's ability to calculate things really fast. AI's ability to know from chemistry to biology to sports, the vast amount of knowledge. So it's already super to human in many ways. But it remains a question that can AI ever be Newton? Can AI ever be Einstein? Can AI ever be Picasso? I actually don't know. For example, have all the celestial data of the movement of the stars that we observe today. Give that data to any AI algorithm. It will not be able to deduce Newtonian law of motion.
Nano Banana Pro is now on our list. And it's scary good.
In the shadows of Arrakis lie many secrets, but the darkest of them all may remain at the end of House Atreides. We found it in Berigan Revenge.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
Hey guys, what's happening? Nihat here with Film Comics Explained. As requested, today we'll finally be exploring the Butlerian Jihad, the long and bloody human crusade against computers, thinking machines, and conscious robots. In this video, we're going to explore the human complacency that led to the rise of machines, the Butlerian Jihad, perhaps one of the most important events in human history, the rise of the feudal galactic order, and finally, the conclusion of the 15,000-year saga. Humans tried to develop intelligent machines as secondary reflex systems, turning over primary decisions to mechanical servants. Gradually, though, the creators did not leave enough to do for themselves. They began to feel alienated, dehumanized, and even manipulated. Eventually, humans became little more than decisionless robots themselves, left without an understanding of their natural existence. To understand the Butlerian Jihad, we must first learn about the Titan Revolution that set the foundation for the universe humanity needed to fight back against. The Titan's genesis comes from the decadence of the old empire, which over thousands of years had grown corrupt and inert, its people enslaved by apathy. Proclaiming the need for change, a revolutionary and political philosopher named Tlaloc from the planet Plurlax emerged from the outer edges of the known universe. A few individuals, totaling 20, became avid followers of his reactionary ideologies and began a plot to overthrow the old empire, installing themselves as the new rulers. During this time, the group adopted the names of legendary individuals from human history. Thanks to the cunning leadership of their tactical leader, General Agamemnon, the technological genius of Barbossa, and financial backing from Xerxes, a former prince, the group succeeded in gaining access to the imperial networks and utilized the countless automatons scattered throughout the known universe to gain total control. After dividing up the various planets between them, though still under the ultimate leadership of Agamemnon, the group enacted a form of brutal rule upon their subjects. Some say it is better to rule in hell than serve in heaven. That is a defeatist attitude. I intend to rule everywhere, not just in hell. Despite being recipients to life extension treatment, old age was catching up to the Titans, and so, fearing their own demise, some embarked upon surgery that saw their brains removed from their bodies and placed in preservation tanks. Agamemnon was the first to undergo this surgery, and Xerxes the last. While this action was inspired by the Cogitors, revered philosophers and scientists during the Old Empire, who chose to transfer their brains into preservation canisters, the Titans rejected the option of sensory deprivation. They instead forged robotic bodies and sensors to act as replacements for their human forms. Thus were born the original Cymex, human minds housed in powerful machine bodies. During the rule of the Titans, the group relied to a greater extent on the thinking machines, the limited artificial intelligences present in the various networks and robots around them. While many of the Titans sought physical pleasure, the thinking machines controlled the daily operations of the new empire. The Titan Xerxes, being particularly fond of leisure, afforded too much autonomy to his regional AI network, thus allowing an infomorph to come into existence in 1182 BG. This sentience, called Omnius, quickly spread to other worlds and took control from the Titans. The human mind, facing their real challenges, soon grows stagnant. Thus, it is essential for the survival of mankind as a species to create difficulties, to face them, and to prevail. The Butlerian Jihad was an outgrowth of this largely unconscious process, with roots back to the original decisions to allow thinking machines too much control, and the inevitable rise of the Omnius Empire.
You always wondered why that app didn't exist. Now you can make it. Meet Replit Agent. Want a custom workout plan? Make an app for that. Have a great idea at 2 a.m.? Make an app for that. Need to run an analysis? Or learn with your kids? Make an app for that too. This isn't just making up. This is your imagination unleashed. Describe what you want and watch it come to life. No coding experience, right from your phone. Made an awesome app? Share it with a friend.
The machines self-evolved into a single grand electronic mind that retained a few of the imposed human ambitions and characteristics of the titans they overthrew. Omnius, as the intelligence cushioned itself, quickly took control of the Titan-ruled worlds and brought his own clinical and logical rule to them. Barbosa had secured some algorithms that prevented these programs, including Omnius, from harming the Titans themselves, but humanity was not so fortunate. The vast size of the synchronized empire proved to be problematic when disassembling and synchronizing information. Thus, Omnius deployed planet-wide clones of himself across his empire. A particular incarnation, known as Omnius Prime, was located on Earth. Knowledge was distributed between the various Omnius incarnations via update ships, which delivered gel circuitry copies of an Evermind from one planet to another via faster-than-light travel. Of course, the discovery of instantaneous space travel by the League of Nobles via the Space Vault was a jealously guarded and successfully kept secret. During this time, Erasmus, an independent and somewhat eccentric robot that served under Omnius, proposed a wager to Omnius Prime concerning the predictability of humans. Aristotle implanted in the dominant schools of philosophy the attractive belief that there can be discrete separation between mind and body. This led quite naturally to corollary delusions, such as the one that power can be understood without applying it, or that joy is totally removable from unhappiness, that peace can exist in the total absence of war, or that life can be understood without death. He encouraged Omnius to select loyal servants. Erasmus would then attempt to turn them against the thinking machines, thus demonstrating whether humans could truly be trusted. Omnius agreed to the terms, but warned that he would exterminate humanity should they prove to be unpredictable and too unruly, much to the discontent of Erasmus, as it would deplete his supply of test subjects. Nonetheless, his plan to understand humanity typically came through experiments on enslaved humans of the synchronized worlds, which normally resulted in suffering, misery, and death. I intend to create a new work of art, all my own, a still life of sorts. You three will be vital parts to the process. Rejoice in your good fortune. In the sterile environment of the laboratory, with the cold assistance of his personal robot guards, Erasmus proceeded to vivisect the trio of victims, oblivious to their screams. I want to get to the heart of the matter, he quipped, the lifeblood of it. His other attempts to rationalize human behavior involved surrounding himself with luxurious human trappings, such as materials, art, and decor. Most of these experiments, however, yielded no tangible gains. The cause of the jihad can be traced back to the decision of Omnius to escalate the centuries-old standoff against the League of Nobles that free humanity in a long war of attrition. Shortly after creating the synchronized empire, Omnius launched his first attack against the League of Nobles, beginning the war. In 603 BG, he launched an unsuccessful campaign against the League world of Chusak. The next massive assault was on the League capital world of Seleucus Secundus in 303 BG. However, the 20 Titans were dissatisfied with the situation. They still despised the free humans and longed for their destruction. And so in 203 BG, Barbosa made a bet with Omnius. If a Psymech beat one of the robots made by Omnius, the latter had to escalate the war, and bet that Barbosa won. Honoring the wager, Omnius decided to push the centuries-old conflict to a new level. Any true student must realize that history has no beginning, regardless of where a story starts. There are always earlier heroes and earlier tragedies. The robotic fleet of armored warships, led by General Agamemnon inside his pyramid-shaped vessel, was 10 times the size and power of any previous force that the League of Nobles had fought. The crews of sentry human vessels that opened fire overwhelmed them, but the robotic ships eventually vaporized the inner perimeter of human defenses. Only a few distant scouts managed to transmit a warning to the ground. Because of the existence of a Holtzman shield network, the general and a small vanguard of Psymechs pressed forward on a mission to disrupt the defense grid and open the way for the machines. Drop carriages would penetrate the defenses, while the robots would prepare for a ground attack. Xerxes and 3 Neo Psymechs shut down the subsidiary systems of their ships before letting their armored drop carriages fall into the atmosphere. They crash-landed on the outskirts of the prime city of Zimia, where the main shield-generating towers were located, followed by Agamemnon and 27 other ships. The Seleucian militia responded, with the warship commanders calling their crews to battle-ready status immediately. 16 patrol battle groups and picket ships were scattered at random. The shields were turned on, and the Hall of Parliament was evacuated. Tercero Xavier Harkonnen was dispatched from the military control center with a portable comm station where he witnessed the Cymex hatching from the pyramid ships. This saved his life, as a drop carriage fell and leveled the base he came from, along with his comrades, including Primero Venable Meech, giving him temporary charge of the militia. Xavier envisioned the route of the Cymex who ravaged and burned the city, coming upon a realization. They were heading for the shield generators, while the robotic fleet formed and waited in orbit. He was faced with a great dilemma. He had no other choice but to order the militia to fall back and defend the generators, now the single most vital target, leaving the rest of Zimia undefended and exposed to poisonous gas and flames. Reluctantly, the troops mounted a defense around the parabolic latticework of transmitting towers, while the Cymex continued to destroy the city, hoping the troopers would divert their focus. Meanwhile, Xavier rode at Kinjal and commanded a concentrated assault against each Cymex independently. 6 were destroyed, and Xerxes barely escaped in a launch pod containing his preservation canister. Realizing the futility of the mission, the remaining Cymex abandoned their warrior forms and blasted out into space, where the fleet retrieved them. The event put the League of Nobles under red alert, and the effectiveness of the Holtzman shield was questioned. As a result, the savant Theo Holtzman desperately started to look for an improvement. After the battle, Xavier was promoted to Segundo, the equivalent to a colonel, but suffered serious trauma from inhaling toxic gas in the battle. He had his lungs and olfactory organs replaced, retaining only a small percentage of his sense of smell and taste thereafter.
David, the movie.
I will not be
Are you ready for a great adventure?
David, in theaters this Christmas.
Hosting this holiday season? Let Tito's Handmade Vodka lend a hand. Because you may not have to leave the house, but that means everyone's in your house, expecting 3 different styles of potatoes, fresh and canned cranberry sauce, and a festive charcuterie board. But hey,
For a man who ran away after robbing a store.
Crucial development, Bob. Police have just dispatched a sketch of the suspect. We have an update from police. Officers have now arrested the suspect moments ago.
You're looking for a man who ran away after robbing a store.
Once a man loves you, he no longer likes you usually. So I'm going to give you some advice, ladies, on how to keep your man liking you once he loves you, if that's possible. This is what I think. Men want to be alone, but we don't want to be by ourselves. Does that make sense at all? Meaning, really, look at this guy looking at his wife like, not you, sweetie, but sort of you, kinda. We want you somewhere, like in the dwelling, just not here, like just like around the corner, in the vents. You can sit in the vent, I don't care if you want to watch me, but in the on the roof, anywhere, but just not in front of me. Once a man loves you, he no longer likes you usually. So I'm going to give you some advice, ladies, on how to keep your man liking you. Alright, so look, you see her? Put your arm up. Show them that you taller. Come here. Get out of this, I give you 200. Get out of this, I give you 200. Get out of this, I give you 200. Get out, no. Get out of this! Let me get out of this! Get out of this! You can't get out of this, right? Well, that's crazy. Let her go.
Yeah, put a big thing in my mouth. You put that on Facebook. This is a reminder, gangsters are always making the gangster paradise, and they got to get somebody that's gonna have to feed them too. And Mama Bear got to feed Gangster Bear. Y'all don't want this lifestyle. I promise y'all don't. And if he can tell you, he'll tell you, y'all don't want this lifestyle. Ain't that right? Y'all don't want it.
But the AI is getting crazy. It looks so real though. Then my sister just sent me an AI reel. I don't know if she knows it's AI or not, but hold on, where'd she just send that shit to? Oh, it's on my Instagram. So my sister sent me this, which is definitely 100% AI. Like I said, I don't know if she knows it is or
The
not.
man
But
who ran away after robbing a store.
Crucial development, Bob. Police have just dispatched a sketch of the suspect. We have an update from police. Officers have now arrested the suspect moments ago.
You're looking for a man who ran away after robbing a store.
Crucial development, Bob. Police have just dispatched a sketch of the suspect. We have an update
it looks
from police.
really
Officers
good
have now
though.
arrested the suspect.
The falling over part and the way the chair flipped over is a little weird, but and then with the dogs, like the only thing that I saw was the way it looked like he grabbed 2 bags of dog food and then 1 bag disappeared, kind of like underneath it, and it seemed like the doors were not all the way open when they walked in. I don't know, but it still looked fucking good. It looked like a dog grab a bag of food, yo. I gotta drop this in my gamer chat. Let's see a group of real fucking gamers. Let's see what real gamers look like. What? Why did it do that? Hold on, that's not even the start of it. We got the young boy in there. Nah, if that ain't a game, then the motherfucker got the arcade downstairs. I don't got enough local gaming buddies to do nothing like that. She said it looks like the NASA space station.
Just twist to lock it in.
T-minus 10 before launch.
In fact, he has a different frame, which is that AI is like a new version of digital. It's like a flood of
Control tower.
Of alien digital immigrants that are Nobel Prize level capability, work at superhuman speed, will work for less than minimum wage. We're all worried about immigration of the other countries next door taking labor jobs. What happens when AI immigrants come in and take all of the cognitive labor? If you're worried about immigration, you should be way more worried about AI.
So today we're breaking down a shocking interview with Tristan Harris, former Google ethics lead and the co-creator of The Social Dilemma, that Netflix documentary exposing how social media quietly hacked our brains and triggered a wave of unintended damage. In this conversation with Stephen Bartlett from the Diary of a CEO podcast, Tristan warns that billionaire tech CEOs are pushing humanity down a path no one asked for, and that if we don't do anything now to stop them, it's not going to end well. He also talks about why this is happening, who is actually driving this future, and what happens if we just let it happen. Spoiler alert, it's not good. Let's get into it. All right, so first off, Tristan explains that deploying AI widely into the real world has already caused major issues, long before ChatGPT even existed. He explains that social media was actually the first misaligned AI, and the consequences are already being felt. But what's coming next, generative AI that can actually understand and speak our language, well, that's a completely different beast.
The AI behind social media was kind of humanity's first contact between a narrow, misaligned AI that went rogue. Because if you think about it, it's like there you are, you open TikTok and you see a video, and you think you're just watching a video, but when you swipe your finger and it shows you the next video, at that time you activated one of the largest supercomputers in the world, pointed at your brainstem, calculating what 3 billion other human social primates have seen today, and knowing before you do which of those videos is most likely to keep you scrolling. It makes a prediction. So it's an AI that's just making a prediction about which video to recommend to you. But Twitter's doing that with which tweet should be shown to you. Instagram's doing that with which photo or videos to be shown to you.
And you know when I realized they were doing that the algorithm is gauging your content is when it shows you something randomly, which is kind of cool or not cool or whatever, and you swipe away and then you go back to try to see it again and it's gone. The algorithm changes that fast. It changes that fast. It's like, yo, I just saw that video here, and then you click off and click back on. It's not like it's structured in a stack where, oh, these are, the latest 100 videos that people you follow or the channels you subscribe to have released. These latest 100 videos will be here in order. No, it's never whatever the people you follow, the things they posted overnight is not going to come to you in the order as it was posted. The algorithm picks and chooses and decides like what you see first and what content you see at all. And it's like, we'll toss you something to see if this will engage you. Oh, it did engage you. Okay, let's flip it to the next thing. You try to go back to find the first point of engagement and it's already gone from there. It's like, you don't need to worry about that. That was just to get you hooked on the scroll real quick. Now that you're scrolling, we're gonna proceed to take you to the next thing that we think you should see.
All of these things are these narrow, misaligned AIs just optimizing for one thing, which is what's going to keep you scrolling. And that was enough to wreck and break democracy and to create the most anxious and depressed generation of our lifetime just by this very simple baby AI. And people didn't even notice it because it was called social media instead of AI. But it was the first, we used to call it in this AI dilemma talk that my co-founder and I gave, we called it humanity's first contact with AI because it's just a narrow AI. And what ChatGPT represents is this whole new wave of generative AI that is a totally different beast because it speaks language, which is the operating system of humanity. Like if you think about it, it's trained on code, it's trained on text, it's trained on all of Wikipedia, it's trained on Reddit, it's trained on everything, all law, all religion. And all of that gets sucked into this digital brain that has unique properties. And that is what we're living with ChatGPT.
We've all seen the harms social media has already caused. Anxiety, polarization, social isolation, cultural degradation, but we've also all seen the benefits, connecting with people, new opportunities, instant knowledge, all of that. And with generative AI, we're going to see those same trade-offs, except this time, the benefits are so insanely powerful that even the worst negative consequences start to feel worth the risk, at least to the people racing to build it. Check this out.
And we already have AIs that can obviously beat Garry Kasparov at chess, beat Go, the Go Asian board game, or now beat StarCraft. So you have AIs that are beating humans at strategy games. Well, think about StarCraft compared to an actual military campaign, in Taiwan or something like that. If I have an AI that can outcompete in strategy games, that lets me outcompete everything. Or take business strategy. If I have an AI that can do business strategy and figure out supply chains and figure out how to optimize them and figure out how to undermine my competitors, and I have a step function level increase in that compared to everybody else, then that gives me infinite power to undermine and outcompete all businesses. If I have a super programmer, then I can outcompete programming. 70 to 90% of the code written at today's AI labs is written by AI.
It's moving day. That's right. Mint Mobile is coming home to your home. I mean, if you'll have this. The internet for your home from Mint. Minternet. Fast 5G home internet powered by T-Mobile for $30 a month. No more triple-digit monthly bills or waiting for the cable guy to show up and silently judge your home decor. You cross the 2-foot perimeter, so back off or I will stab you both in the highly...
Think about the stock market as well. Think about the stock market. If I have an AI that can trade in the stock market better than all the other AIs, because there's mostly AIs that are actually trading in the stock market, but if I have a jump in that, then I can consolidate all the wealth. If I have an AI that can do cyber hacking, that's way better at cyber hacking in a step function above what everyone else can do, then I have an asymmetric advantage over everybody else. So AI is like a power pump. It pumps economic advantage, it pumps scientific advantage, and it pumps military advantage, which is why the countries and the companies are caught in what they believe is a race to get there first. And anything that is a negative consequence of that, job loss, rising energy prices, more emissions, stealing intellectual property, security risks, all of that stuff feels small relative to if I don't get there first, then some other person who has less good values as me, they'll get. And I will be forever a slave to their future. I know this might sound crazy to a lot of people, but this is how people at the very top of the AI world believe is currently happening. And that's what just conversations. Yeah.
Well, that was basically the AI race explained in 2 minutes. The incentives to build this technology first far outweigh the potential risks. That's what he claims people at the top believe. But it actually goes deeper than that. In fact, he says some of these top AI CEOs believe in the inevitable replacement of biological life, us, with digital life, and even look at it as a good thing. And he says that they have almost an eco-religious intuition that they will somehow be a part of that future. Just take a look at this.
There's a quote that a friend of mine interviewed a lot of the top people at the AI companies, like the very top, and he just came back from that and basically reported back to me and some friends, and he said the following. In the end, a lot of the tech people I talk to, when I really grill them on it, about why you're doing this, they retreat into number one, determinism, Number 2, the inevitable replacement of biological life with digital life. And number 3, that being a good thing anyways. At its core, it's an emotional desire to meet and speak to the most intelligent entity that they've ever met. And they have some ego-religious intuition that they'll somehow be a part of it. It's thrilling to start an exciting fire. They feel they'll die either way, so they prefer to light it and see what happens.
That is the perfect description of the private conversations.
Doesn't that match what you have? So people may hear that and they're like, well, that sounds ridiculous. But if you actually...
I just got goosebumps because it's the perfect description, especially the part they'll think they'll die either way.
Exactly. Well, and worse than that, some of them think that in the case where if they were to get it right, and if they succeeded, forever, AI perfectly speaks the language of biology. It will be able to reverse aging, cure every disease. And so there's this kind of, I could become a god. And I'll tell you, you and I both know people who've had private conversations. Well, one of them that I've heard from one of the co-founders of one of the most powerful of these companies, when faced with the idea that what if there's an 80% or 20% chance that everybody dies and gets wiped out by this, but an 80% chance that we get utopia, he said, well, I would clearly accelerate and go for the utopia. 20% chance.
It's crazy.
People should feel you do not get to make that choice on behalf of me and my family. Consent to have 6 people make that decision on behalf of 8 billion people. Just stop pretending that this is okay or normal. It's not normal. And the only way that this is happening and they're getting away with it is because most people just don't really know what's going on.
Okay, so that's the mindset at the very top. But here's the thing. Even if they do build their digital utopia, what does our life look like in that world? Do we actually get a piece of that abundance? Do we get more free time? Do our lives actually get better? Or do we just lose our jobs, lose our purpose, and become completely irrelevant? Tristan says the math does not add up, especially when a handful of trillion-dollar companies control all the wealth. Because again, going back to incentives, what reason would Sam Altman have to share the billions he's making off ChatGPT with you or with me, even if it wiped out our livelihoods? Here's how Tristan sees it.
And I'm just wondering, in such a future where you think about even yourself and your family and your friends, what are you going to be spending your time doing in such a world of abundance? If there was 10 billion...
Well, the question is, are we going to get abundance, or are we going to get just jobs being automated? And then the question is still, who's going to pay for people's livelihoods? So the math, as I understand it...
Welcome to Dirtbag America, where we say fuck billionaires by educating ourselves for free.
Yeah.
All right, Dirt Babies, it's been a great summer of gardening, but it's finally time to get back to the old...
This is a commercial? This is what I don't understand about some commercials now. So we just listened to the last Ryan Reynolds commercial about whatever product he's trying to sell. And he said, in the commercial, he was talking to like the actors in the back. If you don't back away, I'll stab you in your dick. In a commercial that kids can randomly hear. And this commercial starts off, damn, I can't even, he just said fuck or something. He just used a profane word in an advertisement. Like, this is how we sell products now, products and services with profane language. It's just so weird to me. I don't know. Well, I guess, they said that the All in the Family, I guess the Archie Bunker TV show, way back in the day, was the first television show that actually played the sound of a toilet flushing. And they said that at that time, people thought that was really vulgar and rude to have on TV. You can hear the toilet flush. Like, why would they do that? Why? Who wants to hear that sound on their television? And I'm like, it's just the toilet flushing. It's a part of everyday life. So I guess I'm getting into my old man stage where it's like when you hear cursing,
It's just an advertisement. It's not a TV show or music or anything. It's just like you're just trying to sell me something, but you're cursing at me to sell it. It's just like, damn. And get it straight. I swear. But oh well.
For a little Jake teaching time. It's okay. You guys remember the big beautiful bill and how it was a bunch of fuck shit? Well, I bet it's worse than you thought. Oh, no. Not only did the bill make the already gaping wealth gap even gapier, it also did away with clean energy incentives across the country. Those programs where you get money back for installing solar panels. Awesome! Oh wait, there's more. It also swings the doors wide open for big oil companies to come through and drill baby drill, regardless of how many babies might actually be nearby. There's one thing I want for my kids, it's more kids.
The video says
who lobbied for this bill aren't going to be having their children living next
sponsored.
to the oil refineries that they own. Those homes are the peasants. Remember how the bill was supposed to bring back jobs and reignite industry? What about the part where clean energy was one of the fastest growing sectors in the American economy? I guess if the jobs aren't putting money in a billionaire's bathtub, they must not count. So let's see, we've got environmental degradation, the loss of hundreds of thousands of American jobs, but at least we'll probably be saving money, right? Wrong! Because renewables made up like 20% of our power grid and are the fastest and cheapest energy to bring online, most of our electric bills are probably going to go up over $100 a year. 50 senators voted yes on this thing, and if yours is one of them, you might want to send them a middle finger in the mail.
Something big is coming to the WSOP free-to-play app, NFL Big. The NFL Poker Experience. Rep your team.
The WSOB. Wow, son of a bitch.
Currently seem to work out where everyone can get a stipend to pay for their whole life and life quality as they currently know it. And are a handful of Western or US-based AI companies going to consciously distribute that wealth to literally everyone, meaning including all the countries around the world whose entire economy was based on a job category that got eliminated? So for example, places like the Philippines, where a huge percent of the jobs are customer service jobs. If that got automated away, are we going to have OpenAI pay for all of the Philippines? Do you think that people in the US are going to prioritize that? So then you end up with the problem of you have law firms that are currently not wanting to hire junior lawyers because, well, the AI is way better than a junior lawyer who just graduated from law school. So you have two problems. You have the law student that just put in a ton of money and is in debt because they just got a law degree that now they can't get hired to pay off. And then you have law firms whose longevity depends on senior lawyers being trained from being a junior lawyer to a senior lawyer. What happens when you don't have junior lawyers that are actually learning on the job to become senior lawyers? You just have this sort of elite managerial class for each of these domains. So you lose intergenerational knowledge transmission.
Interesting.
And that creates a societal weakening in the social fabric.
Do you think UBI will work as a concept? A UBI, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically
universal basic income.
Just using money.
It's a stipend.
Giving people money every month.
But I mean, we have that with Social Security. We've done this when it came to pensions. That was after the Great Depression, I think in like 1935, 1937, FDR created Social Security. But what happens when you have to pay for everyone's livelihood everywhere in every country? Again, how can we afford that?
Well, if the costs go down 10x of making things.
This is where the math gets very confusing, because I think the optimists say you can't imagine how much abundance and how much wealth it will create. And so we will be able to generate that much. But the question is, what is the incentive again for the people who've consolidated all that wealth to redistribute it to everybody else?
We just have to tax them.
And how will we do that when the corporate lobbying interests of trillion-dollar AI companies can massively influence the government more than human political power?
So yeah, I know this sounds terrifying, and you might be feeling a little helpless right now. It feels like everything is happening so fast, and the most important decisions in human history are being made without our input, and without most people even realizing it. But it's important to realize that the future is not inevitable. Tristan says we've seen this pattern before. Cigarettes, fossil fuels, plastics, social media. The formula is always the same. Profits first, hide the harms, deny everything. But Tristan says this time, we can't just wait until the damage is done, because we might literally not get a second chance. Although if society sees the incentives clearly right now, we might actually be able to force a different path in time. Check this out.
And every time we saw with cigarettes, with fossil fuels, with asbestos, with forever chemicals, with social media, the formula is always the same. Immediately print money on the product that's driving a lot of growth, hide the harm, deny it, do fear, uncertainty, doubt political campaigns that's so, merchants of doubt, propaganda that makes people doubt whether the consequences are real. Say we'll do a study. We'll know in 10 years whether social media did harm kids. They did all of those things. But we don't have that time with AI. And B, you can actually know a lot of those harms if you know the incentive. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's business partner, said, if you show me the incentive and I will show you the outcome. If you know the incentive, which is for these companies, AI, to race as fast as possible, to take every shortcut, to not fund safety research, to not do security, to not care about rising energy prices, to not care about job loss, and just to race to get there first, that is their incentive. That tells you which world we're going to get. There is no arguing with that. And so if everybody just saw that clearly, we'd say, okay, great, let's not do that. Let's not have that incentive, which starts with culture, public clarity that we say no to that bad outcome, to that path. And then with that clarity, what are the other solutions that we want? We can have narrow AI tutors that are non-anthropomorphic, that are not trying to be your best friend, that are not trying to be therapists at the same time they're helping you with your homework, more like Khan Academy, which does those things. So you can have carefully designed different kinds of AI tutors that are doing it the right way. You can have AI therapists that are not trying to say, tell me your most intimate thoughts and let me separate you from your mother, and instead do very limited kinds of therapy that are not screwing with your attachment. So if I do cognitive behavioral therapy, I'm not screwing with your attachment system. We can have mandatory testing. Currently, the companies are not mandated to do that safety testing. We can have common safety standards that they all do. We can have common transparency measures so that the public and the world's leading governments know what's going on inside these AI labs, especially before this recursive self-improvement threshold. So that if we need to negotiate treaties between the largest countries on this, they will have the information that they need to make that possible. We can have stronger whistleblower protections so that if you're a whistleblower and currently your incentives are, I would lose all of my stock options if I told the world the truth, and those stock options are going up every day, we can empower whistleblowers with ways of sharing that information that don't risk losing their stock options. So there's a whole, and we can have, instead of building general, inscrutable, autonomous, like dangerous AI that we don't know how to control, that blackmails people and is self-aware and copies its own code, we can build narrow AI systems that are about actually applied to the things that we want more of. So, making stronger and more efficient agriculture, better manufacturing, better educational services that would actually boost those areas of our economy without creating this risk that we don't know how to control. So there's a totally different way to do this if we were crystal clear that the current path is unacceptable.
So yeah, he lays out a ton of things AI companies could be doing differently, like building narrow, helpful AI systems, tutors that actually help with learning, mental health tools that don't manipulate us, transparency and safety requirements before deployment, etc. But what can we do? What can the average Joe watching this, who isn't an AI researcher working at OpenAI, do? This is exactly what Stephen Bartlett asks him towards the end of the interview. And here's his response.
So what do I do today? What does Jack do today? What do we do?
I'm Sora 2, the new AI in town.
We're not afraid. Artlist got them all. Sora 2 is now on Artlist. You now have the most advanced.
I think we need to protest.
Yeah. It's going to come to that. I think because people need to feel it is existential before it actually is existential. And if people feel it is existential, they will be willing to risk things and show up for what needs to happen, regardless of what that consequence is. Because the other side of where we're going is a world that you won't have power and you won't want. So better to use your voice now maximally to make something else happen. Only vote for politicians who will make this a tier 1 issue. Advocate for some kind of negotiated agreement between the major powers on AI that use rule of law to help govern the uncontrollability of this technology so we don't wipe ourselves out. Advocate for laws that have safety guardrails for AI companions. We don't want AI companions that manipulate kids into suicide. We can have mandatory testing and transparency measures so that everybody knows what everyone else is doing and the public knows and the governments know so that we can actually coordinate on a better outcome. And to make all that happen, it's going to take a massive public movement. And the first thing you can do is to share this video with the 10 most powerful people you know and have them share it with the 10 most powerful people that they know. Because I really do think that if everybody knows that everybody else knows, then we would choose something different. And I know that at an individual level, there you are at a mammal hearing this, And it's like, feel how that's going to change. And it will always feel that way as an individual. Always feel impossible until the big change happens. Before the civil rights movement happened, did it feel like that was easy and that was going to happen? It always feels impossible before the big changes happen. And that when it does happen, it's because thousands of people worked very hard ongoingly every day to make that unlikely change happen.
This isn't destiny. We're not locked into a future where 6 CEOs decide the fate of 8 billion people, but only if we act while we still can. Because I completely agree with him that the current incentives are forcing us into a reckless global race towards superintelligence, and that there will be very good things that come from this, but also potentially some very bad things. Think of it like social media in 2013. It was still new, still exciting, and no one fully understood the side effects yet. We didn't know algorithms would hijack our attention. We didn't know they'd shape our politics, our self-worth, our worldviews. We didn't know kids would grow up addicted to a dopamine slot machine. But now we know. And social media algorithms were just the tip of the iceberg of what AI will be. So imagine if in 2013, the world stepped in and said, let's make sure this serves humanity, not the other way around. What would the last decade have looked like as opposed to what it actually looked like? With AI, we don't have to make that same mistake. And it's imperative we don't, because the consequences will be far worse than an uptick in depression and anxiety. So let me know what you guys think. Are we headed toward a digital utopia or a disaster disguised as progress? And do you think we still have time to steer it into a, quote, better direction? Drop your thoughts below. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful or thought-provoking, please consider hitting that like button so more people can see this conversation. Also, make sure to subscribe if you want to stay ahead of what's coming. And as always, I'll be catching you guys in the next one.
This is the absolute best phone holder for your car. Your phone clips right into it and it attaches to your rear view mirror. So if you have a rear view mirror, this is for you. You don't have to worry about trying to attach it to your vent or your cup.
Damn battlegrounds on a loadout, I like to go to this spot to secure the fact that I'll get a second weapon. I don't think I have ever loaded into this map and not gotten a weapon out of this place. I realize a lot of people still don't know about this place, so I figured I'd make a video on it. Honestly, in this part of the map, I never really see people either, so this is what it looks like from the outside. You'll rarely run into players over here. That's what I've noticed so far. That might change, but as of right now, it's usually an easy pickup to come in here and grab your second weapon. If you like this video, subscribe for more. When I'm playing damn battlegrounds on a free loadout, I like to go to this spot to secure the fact that I'll get a second weapon. I don't think I have ever loaded in.
Scrappy is this cool rooster in our creators that gathers some materials for you after each raid. And you can actually upgrade him to get even more materials, but to do that, you will need a dog collar first. Dog collar is an item in our creators, and if you mouse over it, you will see that it spawns in residential areas. Now go to the available maps you have, and if you click on the inspect button, some of the points of interest in these areas will be marked as residential, and those have the highest chance of spawning a dog collar. In the first area that you can access in our creators, called Damn Battlegrounds, there is no residential areas, but there are a couple of buildings that can sometimes have a dog collar spawn in them. These are the apartments in the northwest of the map and in the very north of the map. If you don't have any luck with these, you will have to play 6 raids, and this will unlock a new area for you. In the Buried City map, if you inspect it, you will see that the Grandioso apartments are a residential area, and that there's 2 more small points of interest with the residential tag, the Santa Maria houses and the Red Tower. Basically, the whole Buried City is filled with just residential houses and apartment buildings and there's a lot of chance that you're going to find a dog collar in one of these. But the most chance you will have in these points of interest marked with residential tag. I found mine near the Santa Maria houses and the Red Tower, actually in the Plaza Rosa point of interest, which just goes to show you that these spawn randomly, and you will need a little bit of luck. Once you extract with that dog collar, here's a tip: put it in your safe pocket in your inventory, so even if you die, the dog collar will get extracted. Go to your workshop, click on Scrappy, and just upgrade them. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. And if this was useful to you raiders, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This is the Noob going back to the art.
What you want to do is save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your friend to stop digging into the green?
I can ask, but he's not going to. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Longines, elegance is an attitude.
Sing your headline on the Daily Show. You seen them all over YouTube. I want you to put your hands together. Put your hands together. Put your hands together.
Just found Arc Raiders' first Easter egg. The other day I was going through some of the more random parts of the game when I found an odd piece of equipment. I'm sorry, what? An instrument that everyone has used at least once in their life. This piece of tactical music equipment is supposed to serve two purposes. Impress your fellow Raiders, which obviously it does. It does, right? And lure Arc to your position. But there's a third purpose, which until now, no one has found. I was walking around being super annoying with my skin flute out when all of a sudden I got some random XP for something. Wait, did I just level up my flute? So yeah, obviously I immediately exfilled to check it out. I mean, what if it plays a different song? Oh, it played a different song. It still looked like the same exact hunk of plastic, but I needed to know if I'd just done something groundbreaking. I spawned in and whipped it out, but it still played the same song. This is not, no, out of frustration, I dropped it on the ground and made 3 new holes in it. I don't know what I was expecting, but it sure wasn't this. I think I just found Arc Raiders' first Easter egg. The other day I was going through some of the more random parts of the game when I found an odd piece of equipment. I'm sorry, what? An instrument that everyone has used at least once in their life. This piece of tactical music equipment is supposed to serve two purposes. Impress your fellow Raiders, which obviously it does. It does, right? And lure Arc to your position. But there's a third purpose, which until now, no one has found. I was walking around being super annoying with my skin flute out when all of a sudden I got some random XP for something. Wait, did I just level up my flute? So yeah, obviously I immediately exfilled to check it out. I mean, what if it plays a different song? Oh, it played a different song. It still looked like the same exact hunk of plastic, but I needed to know if I'd just done something groundbreaking. I spawned in and whipped it out, but it still played the same song. This is not, no, out of frustration, I dropped it on the ground and made 3 new holes in it. I don't know what I was expecting, but it sure wasn't this. I I think I just
He
found
put
Darth
more
Vader's
holes
first
in it
Easter
and it played more notes. That's crazy.
How was the premiere? Great, but Dad really is a wizard. Sure, Dad's a wizard. Dad, show them.
What if your Wi-Fi works like magic? Xfinity. Imagine that.
Netflix making news this week with a new documentary featuring never-before-seen video. Sean Diddy Combs in moments that he clearly viewed as secret, including a high-stakes call with his lawyer just days before his now infamous arrest, plus Diddy reacting in real time as new lawsuits dropped against him. Combs has publicly objected that he says the videos were, quote, stolen.
I want to have a life to be able to live. You know, it's really going to be hard for me to take more hits than I take it. God forbid, get in front of a jury and have a chance. And so I'm having this emergency call because something has to get. I've listened. I've been a superb client, as you said. I jumped on the plane. I'm coming to New York, but I'm just running around waiting for a shooting job.
These new videos contribute to a critical portrait of Diddy in the documentary, which we can report tonight has now jumped to #1 for Netflix shows in the U.S. since debuting. Sean Combs' The Reckoning tackles Diddy's entire life, including previous legal controversies, the recent trial, which saw him acquitted on the most serious charges, including RICO, but convicted for prostitution crimes that landed him in prison for about 2 more years. Diddy's team is also rebutting this project as a, quote, shameful hit piece. They note the obtained footage was not authorized for release. Netflix says they legally obtained videos. Tonight, another dynamic here is that another famous rapper is, of course, behind this film, 50 Cent, who has long publicly clashed with Diddy and has recently expanded into a wide range of film and TV projects. He has plenty to say about Combs' record. The rapper, actor, and producer joins me now. He's sold over 30 million albums, won all kinds of awards and accolades along the way, and is now a successful film and TV producer. And we're also joined by his colleague on the project, Alexandria Stapleton, an Emmy-winning showrunner and director of this series. Welcome to both of you. Oh man, thanks for having me. Always great to have a 50-day. Yeah, it's always going to be good. Great for ratings. There we go. It's an important project, clearly. The question for both of you, 50 first, why this project, why now?
Well, we waited until after the results of the trial to release the project, but I started like almost 5 months before I was able to find Alex, and finding an Emmy Award-winning showrunner and director is detrimental to the project being really well put together. So, you know, they should expect it to perform like Reggie Jackson did.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the why it's coming out now is we wanted to wait, to get through all of the legal proceedings, the criminal trial, and it spans four parts, and it spans over 30 years of pop culture, his life. So it took some time, to say the least, to put all of this together.
It's an important story, and you could just tell it with all the public material. You go further, you've gotten your hands on some extra new material people are going to see for the first time, including this video. Any journalist would want to know how you got it, but it is Sean Diddy Combs in the heat of this, right before the arrest for the trial we just discussed. Combs talking to his lawyer, cameras running, let's take a look.
The middle of September and this still going back.
No, then you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that, Mark. Because you may just be a person that you just may watch CNN. So you at the wrong place looking to see what the people with the possible jurors are thinking. It could be somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media and propaganda.
How'd you get it, and what does that scene show?
Well, I mean, you're a journalist, Harvey. Harvey, you would not disclose your sources.
We usually don't.
Yeah, but I got it. Yeah.
What do you think?
And what do you think it conveys? Because we see someone trying to pull the strings. and talking about, he would say affecting, others would say manipulating the public views of the allegations.
I think that, one big theme of the series is to go behind the scenes to really understand how brilliant you could say Sean Combs is at marketing, at owning his narrative, controlling the narrative at all times. And so why would that stop, when his life is on the line? So I think that, on its face, that's what it is. But as you get deeper in the film, you start to realize, perhaps how some of these tactics, how they really came to present themselves, during the trial.
You show that his abilities, his early rise. Alexandra, you also give time to victims of the alleged abuse. Some of the cases are in different procedural postures, and you show victims who were women and men. Why is that important?
Because, victims of sexual assault, sexual violence, gender should not be a part of that conversation. When you are a victim, you are a victim. And I think that, this series was a platform in a way for these alleged victims to come forward, give their truth, put context to their situations when so much of it was ripped out, and we just went, the world was going through the salacious headlines, and they really had the time to tell their story.
Yeah, and the film takes us way behind the PR or propaganda machine. You see Diddy the day he's finding out about new suits against him while he's in New York preparing for a possible criminal arrest. This is another moment from the video that 50 said he won't tell us where he got it. But it's a rare window into his thinking. I can say, just like Nixon didn't think the Watergate tapes would come out against him, it would appear that Diddy did not think he would lose control of this video as he talks about an accuser. Take a look.
Your future is at your fingertips. Take advantage of the flexibility.
Damn, do I gotta watch the Diddy documentary? That's crazy.
I don't know what level of brokenness, disease is going on. God told me to do nothing, so I gotta do what God told me to do. And when the girl that's in my group that was on my last album, you're on my last album, now all of a sudden I'm this person, I'm this monster. That can't. Gloves coming off.
What does this show in the story you're telling?
Well, this is a moment where the lawsuits, I would say, take a turn and they become very personal for him. Don Richard is one of the alleged victims who filed a lawsuit, and I think that this is a moment where he was nicked. His armor was nicked, I guess you could say, because I think Sean Combs is a person who probably feels like to step to him, especially legally, takes a lot of courage that I don't think he really assumed that a lot of people were going to have, even though the Cassie lawsuit had already been out. And so I think he was a little off balance, but turned to anger.
And 50, the project, I've seen all 4 episodes, it doesn't feel like a personality critique. It feels like it goes to the conduct, the alleged abuse, some of it alleged, some of it proven. You also show one person who worked with Diddy, this was a Bad Boy co-founder, who had a falling out with him, as apparently many people did. And it goes beyond the bravado. Some would say, 50, you have some bravado, and that's okay. Here, it seems that it turns into something more sinister and abusive. I want to play Mr. Burroughs talking about it and get your view of why this was an important part of the story. Take a look.
At this thing with strongmen, and he had a thing with wanting to be one, but not positioned to be one street-wise, but positioned to be one industry-wise. And they call that a paper gangster. Oh, I'm not paying, nor am I involved in any of that. And so as he's paper gangstering, he's also trying to street gangster.
Yeah, Kurt Burroughs has a lot of insight. And this documentary is about people being able to tell their truth or tell their version of the story. And the only thing I wish we were able to have did he be in the doc? So he could have said some things that, you know, make people understand why people are saying these things about him.
The outreach went to his team and they gave denials, but he didn't want to participate.
Yeah.
What do you think of the psychology, 50? Because in getting to know you, I've learned that you could have been a full-time psychologist and done very well with that. You have a keen eye for people. Fair?
Oh yeah, I tried.
Mr. Burroughs makes the argument that Diddy was overcompensating, that he wasn't initially actually a tough guy.
Right.
And then there's the old saying, be careful who you pretend to be, you might become them.
This is true.
Did that happen to him in your view?
I'm not sure if that's what, you know, because I don't know him to be tough. Like we haven't even had problems. Like me and him. Like they'll say we had beef for 20 years, but I had to hire both of his sons for different projects that I worked on. Like both two different television shows, Quincy and Justin. You know, so I don't that energy towards him like we'll be trying to hurt each other. All I would, the people pointed out those situations like he was dangerous. Like I said, oh, okay, you know, I take it in, but we never got there.
Alexandria, the story also broadens well beyond the recent case. You look at a very controversial incident he was involved in early in his life, where people were badly hurt and killed by, but it was like a melee, not one-on-one violence. You look at the infamous case in the nightclub with J-Lo, where another artist, Shine, took the rap, not him. Tell a story that he's been getting away with things this whole time, or is that up to the viewer to decide?
Absolutely up to the viewer. I think that my job was to show patterns, you know, and my job was to report the facts and things that happened. And I think that it's pretty obvious that there are patterns.
Yeah, I was just getting ready for
follow
it. I need to take a bathroom break.
Trails, you know, of destruction and you know, devastation that follow. And I think that, again, context is everything. And so when you're talking about Sean Combs, when you're talking about these cases, you can't just cherry pick one to make it all make sense. You have to look at the piece as a whole.
Yeah. Now we have to talk about Tupac, which I wasn't committed to, but then I watched the doc. So
I didn't know you were getting that.
You have a lot of people saying stuff in there that makes it sound like maybe he was responsible for that murder, which has never been proven. That's a very serious thing.
PPD and over in Vegas now, getting ready to go on trial for the case, saying those things.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with his trial. I think right now it's up for August of 2026, and so it'll be very interesting. It was fascinating, though, to unearth, you know, different people that are not in the direct line of, you know, when all the Keefe news came out. Someone like Kirk Burroughs, you know, you get to understand more of his opinion about what was going down. But I think more than just the actual murders and the tragic deaths of both Tupac and Biggie, I think that for us, it was really important to understand some of the dynamics of those three, Sean Combs, Biggie, and Tupac, and what was really going on behind the scenes. That often gets lifted because everyone just wants to talk about, you know, the murder, you know, and not to really digest why.
I think the viewers left with the impression that he was responsible.
I think that up to the court system and not to me, or the film. We're just presenting, you know, things that have been reported on, has been said by KPD, you know, himself repeatedly, and you know, the LAPD.
Brother Love. Go on.
No, I'm just saying what he was saying.
What he was saying, yeah. And yeah, you're speaking about a key person who some people would say, oh, that's strong evidence. Other people would say, when you get into years later and people with various agendas, you don't know. You have a juror in here. What did that show us about this case? Because there is a tension within all this. It's no stranger to many people that the justice system fails in all sorts of ways. You show how it failed survivors and Cassie, clearly. At the same time, beat the case in New York. I remember the day it happened, and I looked at 50's Instagram for Diddy News, as so many Americans do. And in all fairness, okay, he beat a big part of the case, right? He said, we'll think that was an unjust outcome. But when talking to the jurors, what did you find? Because the film looks at all of this horror, but then finds that a jury of his peers in New York, ultimately in this era, said the government did not prove the whole RICO case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really complicated. And I think that to break down what went right and what maybe went left or wrong in that trial is a whole other documentary. But I think that, we have two jurors, two very different types of New Yorkers, that were interviewed in the film. And I think that when you talk to them, I mean, it was very clear to me that they stood behind that decision. They stood behind it 1,000%. Because they felt that based on the charges that were presented by the federal government, and that they could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Sean Combs was guilty of, RICO.
That they overcharged.
That they overcharged. I think that when you get into the, I don't know if our laws or our legal system are the best when it comes to the gray matter of sexual assault.
Tanks. They need a bigger, more extreme approach to the investigation.
You think the government did basically handle what was still strong evidence?
They did overdo it. They overdid it. They did great. He beat the case. To me, that what he was charged with, that's a victory. That to end up with 50 months when you had your life on the line, it's a victory. To be the only person that's incarcerated for hiring and transporting male prostitutes is different.
Yeah, life on the line, also a particular.
I gotta take these guys out and build this crossbow tower as fast as possible. I don't even think I have a choice. Quickly. Ooh.
It is. When he comes out, and it's not that long from now, he re-enters this world, a stack of civil cases that could bankrupt even the wealthiest people, and you give voice to some of those.
I didn't really think 50 was gonna do that shit, yo. This motherfucker's been saying this for years, for at least a couple years, saying, "Yeah, I got enough like hard evidence. I got enough video and recording, and I know enough people." Like he been said, I can make a Diddy documentary, nigga. He's like, this nigga is weird, and I've been watching this nigga. I don't know why he kind of pinpointed Diddy as his target or whatever, but it's like 50 has been openly, publicly, and just blatantly said, I have enough shit on Diddy. I can make a documentary on this motherfucker, bro. And then he did it. I'm not gonna lie, yo. I'm still kind of amazed at that shit, yo. 50 Cent got a Sean Combs documentary that's ranking #1 on Netflix. Yo, he getting paid like hell off that shit, bro. So much so he gotta do morning news spots. Mr. 50 Cent, you gotta come talk to us. You gotta come sit down on the couch with us. Let's talk about your new project you got going on. This is some juicy pop culture stuff. We can ride this wave right here. Some pop culture, celebrity gossip. Oh, yes. Like 50 said when he sat down, he was like, yeah, I know. I'm great for ratings. People eat this shit up. He said, yeah, I'm always good for ratings. When I come on the show, people will watch. ain't gonna lie, I get hungry now. We'll be at 2.5 hours. Might try to do 3 hours this morning. And then I haven't even started laundry this morning. Need to start some laundry. See if I need to go grocery shopping. At first, I'm gonna definitely have to fix me some breakfast this morning. My exhibit at the museum is tonight on a big Saturday evening. Oh, damn.
Individuals.
I need
What
to
do you
put
think
my
the future
phone on the charger.
should he be sort of re-embraced or not?
I don't know if he probably didn't file bankruptcy. Like it would have indicated to the sharks that even if you see blood in the water, there's not that much blood. Right? Because the lawyers, they came in so many lawsuits. It's like 80 different civil suits. So,
It's over 100 now.
Yeah, he'll be. It's going to exhaust the legal process is exhausting.
I think he also underestimated that a lot, I mean, some of, with every celebrity, you do have different claims and some are completely unfounded. But I think that some of these lawsuits, there's receipts and there's footage and there's voice recordings. And I think that for a man, it's also very interesting, for the culture of hip hop, so many artists record themselves and they probably, when they were, recording themselves in 2005, never saw the year 2025 and how accessible that media would be to actually make a case for things. And I think that's a big part of the gumbo of Sean Combs and what he's doing.
Thanks to both of you for joining us.
Thank you.
Motherfucker pull up shit from 20 years ago, nigga. I still got that video, bruh. You remember in 2007? We was at the hotel, nigga. And you was saying all that wild shit. And I had just got the fucking new Android, Joe.
Getting your flu shot at CVS matters.
Still got that recording,
Because we're working on the
broski.
most important schedules. Yours.
was working for CIA.
Run.
The only fight you won was the one Afghan fought against Russia.
Shocking!
Yeah, I wasn't trusted in Trump.
I became really into politics after 9/11. Either that means like me too, or like he's like, yeah, I was there. But 9/11 is really what pulled me into politics. And
Me
I know
too.
that wasn't their intention, but I was a teenager when 9/11 happened.
Me too.
I was terrified. Like watching the whole thing was scary. I didn't even want to go outside. And so when I chose my career, I decided to do something where I could work from home. Isn't that ironic? 9/11 gave me an inside job.
Damn.
I became so hyper aware of politics that when the United States invaded Afghanistan, I was so paranoid about what was going to happen and I wanted it to stop that I started literally counting the days that we were in Afghanistan on my wall in my room. I would literally mark on the wall every single day that we were occupying Afghanistan. So you can imagine, after a few years, my wall was quite filled. I had to start making the tally smaller and smaller and smaller. And now, fast forward, 20 years later, I'm still living in my mom's house. And this whole time she'd been asking me, she's like, Sam, you got to stop making those marks on your wall. You're ruining my wall. I was like, Mom, we got to get out of Afghanistan. We got to get out. And so flash forward 20 years later, it's 2021. I'm still living in my mom's house. And my wall is just full. And one day she just busts into my room and she's like, all right, enough's enough. You're going to stop making marks on the wall. And I was like, well, it actually works out because Biden just pulled out of Afghanistan, which happened in August 2021. Biden pulled out of Afghanistan, not gracefully, might I add. It was his worst pull-out fail since Hunter. And it was so ironic, the timing. That was the day my mom was like, enough is enough. You're not counting on the wall anymore. The same day that Afghanistan became reoccupied, not by us this time, that my mom said, no more marking on the wall. It was the Taliban.
This might look like just an ordinary hiking stick to you, but you're not going to believe what this thing has inside. Let's go ahead and start with the bottom of this thing. If you untwist it, boom, there's a Flintstone.
That joke was 25 years in the making. I went through 2 Sharpies for that joke. There was a shooting last week. I know you're like, which one? It's America. There was a shooting in DC last week. 2 National Guard members were shot. I'm not going to make jokes about them. That would be crazy. I'm simply going to make jokes about literally everyone else. That's how you do comedy correctly. And so 2 National Guard members were shot in DC. And I don't know how much you know about the situation, but the National Guard shooter had ties to the CIA. Shocking! What a surprise. Every time somebody has ties. Does everybody know the CIA except me? Osama bin Laden had ties to the CIA. Tyler Robinson had ties to the CIA. The CIA has ties to the CIA. Like, what happened to keeping the intelligence central? The shooter worked directly with the CIA. That should be the headline of every media coverage of this, but yet it's not, because the media has ties to the CIA. So the suspect, and I'm not going to say his name because I can't pronounce it, came here to the United States under a program called Operation Allies Welcome, which sounds like a cafe in Portland. And under this program, the United States government worked with Afghan nationals to fight Al-Qaeda. Now, if you're not familiar with Al-Qaeda, it's an organization that if you work your way high up enough, you can be invited to the White House. And shoot hoops after. You're like, oh, that was a 3, pretty good, man. I learned that in ISIS. Talking about Jelani, don't worry about it.
The suspect was part of a specific group called the Zero Unit, which is like 50 Cent's G Unit, but less self-esteem. And it was basically like a death squad. It was like a cluster of operations. They were there to kill people on behalf of the CIA. They saw a lot of horrible shit, things that we will probably never know because it will never be fully declassified. The suspect was recruited by the CIA at 15 years old. And I can tell you, independent of race, it is never a good idea to hire a 15-year-old, okay? Like, wait till 16 at least. Nothing ever good comes from hiring a 15-year-old. Just ask Jeffrey Epstein, who also had ties to the CIA. Release the files, man. I'm just saying, there's a lot of factors going into this story. Now, the suspect was allowed to come to the United States in 2021 under Joe Biden because obviously he wasn't paying attention. But he was granted asylum under Trump because, as we know, Trump loves the Habibis. There's a lot of things weird about this story. They say that the suspect drove to D.C. from Washington State. Yes, it's like the CIA made up a lie but didn't check the work. They're like, oh, there's 2 Washingtons? We should have thought about that before asking ChatGPT. They claimed that he drove all the way from Washington State to Washington, D.C., used a revolver, and allegedly, as he did the shooting, he shouted Allahu Akbar, which for those of you not familiar, that's Arabic for Happy Thanksgiving. Just try to do my best to inform here. That's all. That's literally all I'm doing. So anytime there's an attack on American soil or American troops, you literally have to fact check everything. It's like a game of true or false flag. Mind you, the National Guard should not even have been in D.C.
What you want to do is save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your friend to stop digging into the green?
I can ask, but he's not going to. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Whatever you're doing right now,
go to Artlist.io and save up to 40% on any annual AI plan with Artlist's Black Friday sale.
You heard right. Get the most advanced AI all year long with models so good,
It's shocking. Save up to 40% and start creating without limits.
The reason why the National Guard was in D.C. at this time is because Elon has a friend named Big Balls who got jumped one night outside of his car in D.C. by guess who? Some 15-year-olds. Yes, were they also recruited by the CIA? Was it the CIA youth jumping program? And so this is a real story, but I feel like some of you looking at me like, what is he even talking? Elon has a friend named Big Balls who worked for Doge. And Big Balls got jumped by a bunch of teenagers, so how big can they be? And this all happened in August in DC. So then Trump, aka Small Balls, was like, call the National Guard! Big Balls under attack! And so they summoned the National Guard. And you have personal accounts of a lot of people who work for the National Guard saying, like, I don't know why we're here. That was what a lot of people have been saying. Very tragically, 2 individuals who work for the National Guard were shot. One has survived, one has passed away. And when Trump was asked if he's going to attend her funeral in West Virginia, he gave a very presidential response. He said, I won West Virginia by a landslide. Like, that's probably not the best response. It's just so sad. Not only just 2 people died here, but people who were called for no reason to be there. The woman who was killed, her name is Sarah Beckstrom. And the reason I know this is because I Googled her name to look up who she was. I wanted to know who was this person whose life was taken by this incident. And while I was Googling her, I then noticed, very strangely, her name also happened to be searched 2 days before she was murdered. Her name was searched on Google 25 times in a specific country. Can anybody guess what country it is? No, it's Honduras, guys. What are you talking about? I'm kidding. It's Israel. Are you guys psychic? Yeah, I should have said hint. It's an ethno state. Sarah Beckstrom's name was searched in Israel 2 days before she was shot. 25 times. You use Google Trends. You can use it to see when something was searched on Google, and you can even see where it was searched. And so naturally, people were like, let's see if this is searched in Israel. Sad that we have to get to that point nowadays. But if you look up Sarah Beckstrom, you see that she was widely searched the day after she was shot, because obviously she was a national headline, but then she was also searched 25 times 2 days before she was shot, and that was it. That was it. Now, when somebody is searched, after the shot, it totally makes sense. If somebody searched before they're shot, either they have an X in that country, or perhaps that country may have something to do with the murder. And I'm not making fun of this tragedy. I think it's horrific. This woman was 20 years old. 20 years old. And I know that's way too young. And also atypically old for an Israel victim. But this is just too weird that you see her name searched 2 days before it. And it would be one thing if this was just an isolated incident. I don't know if you're familiar with Charlie Kirk. A bunch of people involved in the whole Charlie Kirk scandal were searched prior to Charlie's murder. For instance, Tyler Robinson was searched many times in Israel a few months before he became the shooter. The doctors at the hospital who were essentially said to have treated Charlie Kirk were searched a number of times, a few months before the shooting in Israel. And there's so many examples, you can look them up. Just basically bookmark Google Trends and regularly check to see if your name is searched in Israel. And if you see your name searched in Israel, run, dude. Just run. The suspect, his name was searched in the United States and a few other countries that exact same day, a couple hours before the shooting. So somebody knows something, is what I'm saying. And, I'm open to buying the narrative that this was just a guy who suffered a lot of mental health issues after everything he did in Afghanistan and coming here, and mental illness and mental health. I'm totally willing to accept all of that. And this is a horrible thing he did, and it was a tragedy. This woman was shot, and I'm willing to accept that that's the explanation. But I'm inclined to believe, based on the evidence, that something bigger is going on here. But even if it's just that this guy, as Trump said, went cuckoo, we know who's to blame. It's the United States government, dude. The United States government still takes the blame for this. And I'm tired of this. You're getting caught now because we have TikTok, we have Google Trends, okay? You're getting caught too much, okay? And the something is they called out the National Guard to protect them in DC, and they completely failed them. And they're getting caught. They're getting caught in a lie because we can use the internet. Yeah, you got caught slipping. Mind I say, you let your guard down. Because we know the CIA works with Mossad all the time. Actually, CIA stands for Can't Israel Assassinate? Yeah. I wrote some jokes, okay? And so now you have Kristi Noem saying this shooter was radicalized. Like, don't bring math into this, first of all. That he was radicalized here in the United States. Are you telling me that we're mentally safer in Afghanistan? Like, what the f*** are you saying? The irony here is no matter what happened, the symbolism is there. We are literally sacrificing the people who are defending us, people who are brave enough to protect us, because we are starting these wars and invading other countries. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's at the point where it's too much, it's in our face, and we need to get the fuck out of every country that we have any involvement in. We need to get the fuck out, and it needs to start today. It needs to start today.
Breaking, you can save up to $1,000 at Ashley right now. So let's go check it out. Ashley is calling it their biggest sale of the year, and I can see why. Super cute styles, and it's true. You get $1,000 off if you spend a certain amount.
I was out when an alarm.com camera alert popped up on my phone. It was Lilo, our neighbor's dog, in our pool. French bulldogs cannot swim. I called her owner and she got there just in time. That smart alert saved Lilo's life. I'm just so grateful.
What's that? Oh, we're in Venezuela? Oh. Mom, hand me the Sharpie! We're basically going to war in Venezuela now. There's a lot of theories on why, but it's the oil. It's, it's like we invaded the Middle East for oil, we're invading Venezuela now for oil. It's like, why do you guys like oil so much? What are you, P. Diddy?
Damn. Damn.
Yes, please, help. Oh, you want to come up here? Operation Allies Welcome. Operation. Can we have a quick vetting process, though? A quick vetting process? Okay, good, fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for coming to the show. Sir, please state your name for the audience. We're good.
Mir Sahibi from Afghanistan. I was in medical college when the US came to Afghanistan. The title was to fight against terrorism. I was young, energetic, and I started working with the US. So I finished my medical college. They gave me a special immigration visa. I come to the US. When I found out that I have to do everything all over again, I went back. It was 2016. So one of the guys that I was working with in military, he looked at me, he's like, "Mir, what you doing here? We heard you went to US. I said, yeah, I went. I found out that I have to do everything all over again. I came back. He's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, why? He's like, one day we will be leaving, and we will be leaving every day for Taliban. You and your family will be struggling and will have no way to leave, and they will kill you because of working with us. So anyhow, I find my way to start finding a job, working in plastic surgery, general orthopedic, spine. One of our great spine surgeons sitting there. So anyhow, I started Support Palestine. So they asked me that, Mir, you work with Americans and now you support Palestine. And my logic was, I said, yeah, when you guys come to Afghanistan, the title was very interesting. Fight against terrorism, join, and I work with you guys. I saw it was the right thing, I did, and I'm here. Now I see it's a genocide going on, and that's wrong, and I am with Palestine. And I stand. A couple of weeks ago, when Mandani won the election, he went to the White House, and very greeting from the President Trump. I'm sorry, I voted for President Trump.
Hold on a second. Wait, 2016 or 2020 or both?
No, this last time. So I thought
he's like 2028, only 2028.
I said, you want to do the best. So I go there.
This is from Rhino USA, and it's built for way
I
more.
can't believe you let somebody take over the show.
Once and never hike without it.
Not afraid in a earthly, motherly way for the potential consequences of what you're saying. Also, bloody hell, mate, are you not a bit worried that you might get murdered? Who benefits from Charlie Kirk being killed? Who benefits? Like, as they say, cui bono, that's the question to always ask.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually didn't understand how Israel benefits from Charlie Kirk being murdered. I certainly can't see yet how, like, sort of French special forces could, so can you explain that to me? Because I don't understand who benefits from, but I also know that whenever I've seen in my whole life, a lone gunman killed RFK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, I know that's a lie, so
Yeah.
I'm open. So what is it?
So look, I can tell you that from the moment that Charlie got shot, and I can't explain it, and maybe it's because Charlie would tell me all the time that he was going to die young, and I showed those messages, and I just knew that this was big. I knew it was big. I didn't have the players. I certainly didn't suspect Turning Point USA would be, as I believe, involved in a cover-up. And we could talk about what the motives are. That they could be financial. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him. And I've never said that. But I do believe that they have betrayed him since, and I am comfortable saying that today. Because I know that they have told lies. I know they have withheld information. That if truly you were motivated by goodness and truth, you would come out and you would say it. Like, there are people at Turning Point who Charlie texted the night before and said they're going to kill me. Well, if you're trying to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk, wouldn't that be a good thing to come forward with and to the public and say Charlie thought that he was going to be murdered the night before? And they're not doing that. So to me, to not assist that investigation is not something that I'm going to ignore. Also, to not answer basic questions that if I said to you, Russell, where were you when Charlie got shot? You're not going to get defensive and weird. You're just going to, I can tell you where I was sitting plotting, planning my next show at the kitchen counter, and they are being very strange about details on that day. It makes me uncomfortable. If someone, the easier task, if the internet thinks that, Mikey McCoy, who was the person who, instantly picked up the phone and walked away when Charlie got shot, who was the chief of staff, if people find that behavior to be suspicious, and I do find it to be not what I would do if the shot went off. Obviously everybody else ran or ducked, and he instantly picked up the phone. I would just show my call log, and I would be like, guys, this is crazy. Like, I've called my mom, and and so it's the absence of answering and the blaming and the yelling that feels off to people, and I think that's fair. I think spiritually, people are sensing, their intuition is coming online and saying, this just doesn't feel right. Again, we can assign different motives. There are donors that were pressuring Charlie. Those donors are still there. They could be saying, we want you to never tell us, to make it so that he is, his memory, rather, they're fighting over his memory, his legacy.
Yeah.
Like he was Judeo-Christian. I'm not comfortable when the spokesperson of Turning Point USA comes out and essentially tries to paint a picture like I'm lying when I very lightly, and reminiscing about me and Charlie, mentioned that, our last conversations, just like I would say this if you, God forbid, died tomorrow.
Well, that's an example.
Yeah, but I would say I was pushing Russell to become Catholic, because that's true, right? It would be very strange if your spokesperson came out and said, that's absolutely not true. He was not praying the rosary. She never had a discussion. That's what Turning Point USA did. They came, there was a discussion between Andrew Kova and Alex Clark, because I don't know why, but the Judeo-Christian syndicate of influencers seized on this one sentence I said. It never was meant to be antagonistic. It was just an honest, like, we were talking about Catholicism, and they also started making videos saying it's absolutely not true. Charlie never flirted with it. They knew, Turning Point knew that Charlie was going to mass, sometimes daily. They knew he was praying the rosary. They knew that Erica took a priest to pray over his body when he died. So you have to ask the question, why lie? And I think that just any lie at all makes me feel uncomfortable, because lies are not necessary unless you're covering something up. No matter what the lie is, why do we lie? To cover something up. So that's a fair assessment that they're engaged in some sort of a cover up, whether it's about his legacy, where he was at spiritually, and then you have to ask deeper questions. Why?
I've had this question before, and I don't think I've been as close to the sun as you are now. Not afraid in a earthly, motherly way for the potential consequences of what you're saying, given particularly that we're talking about, you've said publicly that Bridget and that other guy that hangs around with her, the other one with a penis, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
That's not Christ within there. That's penis without. like saying that they've issued a death threat and that you have it's a credible threat. So firstly, of course, there's the sort of the fluffy story, the exciting fluffy woo story of that. Also, bloody hell, mate, are you not a bit worried that you might get murdered?
Well, I think everyone in the world, after you watch Charlie get publicly executed, sense fear. If you were in the public sphere, I think you probably felt, whoa, chill. Every person, I think, realized, wow, this is not, we're in politics, and we are now seeing what the political system is, and they are willing to kill for power. And that's why it became plausible, right out of the gate, that Charlie was killed because of power. Before it even came out with kind of the ridiculous story about the 30-06 and the Superman neck, and because he eats carrots, whatever it is, people sense that there's a possibility here that the world could be this evil. And I think that also, by the way, is what gripped people globally, was you kind of saw this guy and you felt spiritually impacted by watching him be publicly executed. If Charlie had died in an accident, I don't think it would have had the same impact, but they chose to publicly execute him. And so, yeah, of course, there was an element of, okay, this is getting real, this is getting serious. Greatest fear is not getting into heaven, because I actually am a Christian, and I question the Christians who lie, who choose to lie because they are so attached to the earthly possessions that they are getting in terms of money. My bigger fear is my children growing up in a world that's run by pedophiles. That terrifies me. And to be clear, I did not go into this consciously, right?
Yeah.
When I was covering the Brigitte and Emmanuel story, if you thought that I would end up here and suddenly questioning whether or not Brigitte could have been in America on that day, which is where I'm at right now, you're out of your mind. I mean, I literally thought, oh my God, this is so funny. Like,
Just
this
was
is
funny.
Yes, like this person, like I read the story, and it quite literally, this whole thing starts with the Daily Mail article where I saw a headline that Emmanuel Macron denies his wife's a man. But this had not broken in the English-speaking world. So I was like, what strange, what's going on in France that this president has to come out and deny that his wife's a man? Like, that's funny. And I read the article, and the Daily Mail article was not sufficient in debunking it. It was kind of, and this is obviously ridiculous and crazy, and all of the words. And they're like, there's this one photo or two photos of Brigitte as a child. And I'm like, what do you mean as a child? Like, there should just be tons of photos because she has children. And so then I pivoted to where the rumors came from, and I sat there and I read, and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what do you mean there's just no photos for 30 years of somebody's life? This can't be a real thing. And I thought it was so interesting that the implications here for me that I thought were more severe is that the entire media of France would collude to hide this very obvious thing, right? So it was more like, this is funny. And then fired from a Daily Wire almost, I think, 2 weeks after covering that story. I got fired in March of 2024. The next thing I know, I'm fired. I start my new podcast. I get demonetized on YouTube. They're hitting me over speaking about the Brigitte thing again. And come December, I'm getting a cease and desist from the president of France. And then come February, I'm getting a phone call from the president of the United States. And I'm going, what is going on? People kind of had a base assumption that people in France are into some weird stuff. Nobody had an assumption that this could cause an international crisis. And then when I actually sat down that December with Xavier Broussard and got the full download on the story, he's the one that did the Becoming Brigitte series and wrote the book on it, I went, oh wow, this is way more severe than I had realized. And we are talking about a culture that fosters pedophilia and being protected by governments worldwide. That's important, And it felt like a story that I needed to bring to light. That was kind of that's how that happened. It's very natural. There was I want to be super controversial. I just think it's important that we're not ruled by pedophiles, actually.
For this week only, every dollar you spend on tryreborn.com gets you, I'm going to take the sunglasses off this, it's so serious, 50 entries into the draw to win this Jeep. Man, I've been driving around this Jeep. If I wasn't a family man anymore, my word, me and my German Shepherd, we were going around, people was looking at us, sing hosannas, they were saying. But I suggested there was a strong sexual undercurrent. If you are a person that's lonely, perhaps you're an incel, perhaps you're staring down at your own
before I got signed or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I figured I'd be happy with a gold album, you know what I'm saying? I figured, you know what I'm saying, because of where I was at.
Right.
I was still in the hood, still in the projects, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, if I get a gold album, I made it, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I showed these a couple of weeks after the album dropped, and the picture of my album, it was in brown.
Right.
Or put the same picture in silver.
Right.
And put the streets have spoken on 2 whole pages, you know what I'm saying?
Remember that.
I was like, whoa, yes,
Yes.
the streets have spoken.
And then you did it again.
Yeah.
So what made you? Because I know
Maybe go back and do it again? Yeah. By the time I did my first album, I had like way more songs written. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's all I can go on there? Like, you know, he's like, yo, can you do an album in 30 days? I'm like, yeah, 30 days? Yeah. I'm like, are you kidding? Yeah, I can do that. All right, I just want to make sure I'm not getting caught up in this fame. You know what I'm saying? Because fame is a monster.
Right.
Fame is an ugly fucking monster,
Yes,
man.
it
And,
is.
you know, like get caught up in it can cause you to lose it.
Right. I think we switched.
Like before I got signed or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I figured I'd be happy with a gold album. You know what I'm saying? I figured, you know what I'm saying? Because of what.
Style or substance. When you talk about countless, I feel like this is like the first hood nigga to have 2 number ones in the first year. Like Britney Spears didn't even do shit like that. This man has brought people to this game, have made executives, have made record labels. Because of this man, record labels have survived. Record labels have thrived. This guy right here is what you call a legend's legend. There's nobody in hip hop I could ever think of that don't have love for this guy that I'm talking about right here. He's a humble guy, he's a real guy, and he's a man of his word. And his accolades is to the roof. We're going to talk about that in the show. In case you motherfuckers is living under the rock and you don't know who the hell I am talking about. We are talking about my friend,
alumni, by the way.
Alumni. The other day it was crazy because I totally forgot. Like 1988 is my favorite year.
Yeah.
It's my favorite year, but I totally forgot how much of a better year you had. Great year. When I think about it, I said, 1988 is my best year. You from the side was like, oh yeah, it's my favorite year too. And I looked and I thought about it, I said, oh shit, he had a better year than me that year. So that was like, for lack of a better term, that was like the new, because I believe we had a source cover together.
Yeah.
I believe it was you, Corrupt,
Big Pun.
Pun, Cannabis. I said Cameron. Me, Cameron. Silk the Shaka, who beat me in the Source Awards. Silk the Shaka beat me in the Source Awards. I never got over it. I still tell Benzino that to this day. I'm like, man. But let's just describe that, right? That era of 1998, because a lot of people, and God bless these guys, God bless these children, but you know, they can just come out and have a hit record. Like just that class alone was real alumni. And not only that, you did it twice. You did it once and then came back again. Just describe that type of
feeling. Man, it was an incredible feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like before I got signed or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I figured I'd be happy with a gold album. You know what I'm saying? I figured, you know what I'm saying? Because of where I was at. I was still in the hood, still in the projects. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, if I get a gold album, I made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I showed these niggas. And I remember, I don't remember how long it was, like maybe a couple of weeks after the album dropped. And the picture of my album, it was in brown. Or put the same picture in silver. And put the streets have spoken on 2 whole pages. You know what I'm saying?
Remember that.
I was like, whoa, yes, the streets have spoken. You know what I'm saying?
I remember when Pun came out, and I think Pun did like 150 or 160, and I came out to 167, and then you came, or you might have came before us. You dropped like 200.
May 19th, my first one.
Yeah, you came out first. Holy shit, we got knock off. And then you did it again.
Yeah.
So what made you? Because I know I
go back and do it again.
Yeah, I think Leo.
It was actually it was a deal Leo made for you know what I'm saying? Because by the time I did my first album, I had like way more songs written. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's all I can go on there. Like, you know, But he's like, yo, can you do something in 30 days? I'm like, what, are you fucking kidding?
I don't know, 30 days?
Yeah, I'm like, are you kidding? Yeah, I can do that. Do that, knock that shit out. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have the same confidence I had my first album.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Making the second album?
Yeah, because I still didn't use a lot of material that I already had. The material that told me who I was. You know what I'm saying? The shit that I battled niggas with and disrespecting niggas with. And, you know.
That's the first album. That
Right. I had a lot more
Right.
in the stash. You know what I'm saying? And I wrote a lot of joints for a second. I'm like, all right, I just want to make sure I'm not getting caught up in this famous shit. You know what I'm saying? Because fame is a monster.
Right.
Fame is an ugly motherfucking monster, man. And you know, like getting caught up in it can cause you to lose it.
Right.
I think we some more I need you to recommend what champagne you want me to pop. What champagne?
For you?
Yeah, you know, we get you to say whatever you want, but you know, which one you? This is old shit too, by the way. This is black.
Okay.
Yeah, black owned.
Attractive packaging.
Attractive packaging.
Was that pink or purple?
That's what I'm saying. I don't like to call it. It's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with this one. Listen, you know why I ask this? Everybody who I ask this, everyone who's artistic people, they always go for this one.
Yeah.
Like, so I can tell you're an artistic person. You remember, like, everyone else. So boom, you get this going, and I'm gonna bounce around a little bit because what was your first time saying, yo, I could act? You got movies with Jet Li,
right?
All kind of niggas. You know Kung Fu or something? We got 2 Kung Fu niggas who do movies with.
It was actually, I think, the How's It Going Down video.
How? The type of games that being played.
Did I do that before? I think I did that before Belly, right? No, I did Belly first.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Belly first. Yeah.
Belly was the first.
It was on the set of Belly. It's like, yo, I remember Hype called me up to his house.
Now, I heard you had Belly before use DMX. Was that true?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. And I did it before. No, he did the Get At Me Dog video.
Yeah.
And then he got me with Belly, but I went to his house and it was just him and Terrell Hicks. And I was like, you know, under pressure a little bit because I seen the Bronx sale. I was like, yo, if I see Shorty, I'm gonna smash that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. Yeah. I see that movie. I'm like, so he did. Bronx said, yeah. He's fucking with the Italian nigga. You know what I mean? Like, yo, if I see that.
Polygimo, what's his name? Polygimo. Yeah, that's he's out of here. Yeah. He's great. But
yeah, I was like, wow. I was a little intimidated. You know what I'm saying? Because this is
Belly?
No, just with the reading of the script with Terrell Hicks.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's how you got the role.
Yeah, she did. Guy called me to his house to do a reading, and you know, she bad as a motherfucker. Right. Yeah, everybody's just acting cool and mellow like they ain't famous. I'm like, all right, what you want me to do? And then, like, you know, I was like, all right.
And she's already experienced too.
Right.
Don't make some noise because actually locking a lot of girls down. I just start thinking of it. I'm so sorry. As soon as you say something, locking down. Because I think even your mom was mad at you at one point, right? What's that? You're not running girls.
Yeah.
I forget.
Well, it was way before he even met her though.
Okay.
She was still in New York. New York, you know what I'm saying?
You got it first.
Yeah, but like, come on, you can't get mad at him getting it first.
Nah, and you had to do one album twice.
Right.
I would be mad too. So you went on legendary tours. Like I watch Twitters and you every time I do this. Like even though you're my friend, I still do my just diligence. So I go out there and I watch, and like you go on rock and roll tours. You go on where the roads don't end. Right. You just keep going out there. Like what is your most memorable tour?
All I have to say was Woodstock. Well, that was a tour. That was a show. But man, like the people blended with the sky. There was so many people. I mean, and it was crazy.
Right to be the Woodstock.
It was crazy. They shut up.
Look into your sorry.
They shut up.
I mean, Woodstock. That's where Willie Nelson and niggas take mushrooms.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the place Woodstock, right? Where they did the original old school.
Yeah, it was Woodstock too.
Right.
It was Woodstock too. You know what I'm saying? Like they wanted to recreate it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it wasn't the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
It's still epic.
Yeah. The shit was good. It was dope.
That was your favorite.
No, that was my biggest. I think I want to say like. After a while, the show was just blending together. You don't remember which ones where you was at or whatever, but I remember one show in Philly, and I don't know if it was on the Hard Knock Live tour or the you know, Cash Money tour. It might have been Survival Illness.
Yeah, I did a couple of dates of that.
Yeah, and I was in Philly. I rocked the show and did the prayer at the end. Kind of like
first time doing a prayer?
No.
Okay.
That's my first time, I think, like getting as emotional as I did.
Okay.
I mean, and to hear the support of the fans when you're at that point, thank you. I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, because you know, break it down, could we always be construed as a sign of weakness. You know what I'm saying? Or you soft or something. You know what I'm saying? But for people to take it in its proper context, you know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, that's power. That's power. You know what I'm saying? You know, another tour at South Carolina. So we in a hotel across the street, Hard Knock Life Talk. Jay and his people on this side, me and my people on this side, and you know, we sit there together, you know, thinking, talking. Question is somebody's wife. We ain't gonna get into particular specifics. During that time I had 12 shots in 10 minutes of tequila. I'm like, this shit ain't nothing. Because it didn't burn, it just went down like, ah, shot, I'm swallowed. Big mistake. They were like, yeah, I'm trying to go. I stood up and shit was spinning. I'm like, I can make it. And the venue was right across the street. All right, cool. But I was already dressed. Went over there, and the first I walked straight off the front of the stage.
Oh, it fell?
It fell. Yeah. And then one of those times, you know, sometimes the stage be like real high. Yeah.
And what made you always, like, your own hype man, or the crowd is your hype man?
Right.
What made you say, I'm doing this by myself?
Well, because when I did it by myself.
Wow.
So it's like, ain't no sense in giving a motherfucker a part of what I'm already doing. You know what I'm saying? You know, get it where you fit it, nigga, but not on this.
Right. And you never felt you needed a hype man or wanted a hype man?
Actually, my first hype man was Ja Rule.
I thought it was right on.
No. Yeah. It was the first show on BET. It's called Showcase something. It's the first show on BET where they show people performing live.
Wow.
We did it in DC.
And Ja Rule.
And Swiss was my DJ.
Wow.
And Ja Rule was my hype man. Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shit, that's crazy. Make some noise.
The Chevy Equinox is more than an SUV. It's your tour guide and your boxing ring. It's your dugout and your safety check. It's your bedtime. Your big time. And your makeout booth, too. It's more than an SUV. It's your Equinox. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
So, Fat Joe always tells his story. Him, I believe it's Nigeria or no.
I'll take this shit off. It's hot, this motherfucker.
But this dictator named Rakinyo, and he says that he got kidnapped.
Yeah.
I'm worried you got kidnapped as well.
Almost.
Okay.
We was a little ahead of the situation just by doing some random shit.
In Africa?
Yeah, Angola.
Angola.
Yeah, just by being in the street. You know what I'm saying? I'm just street. Come on, Lee. You're thinking this already.
Shout out to our Angola listeners. We got some.
You got Angola listeners?
Okay.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, so we kind of knew, something was a little off because, you know, out there they pushed the runway up to the plane. I mean, the steps.
Right.
So this nigga came on the plane. I mean, come on.
Let me try to describe this. You want to? You just land private plane, but it's not private.
No, it's not private.
It's not private. This nigga got on the plane.
For you. Came on the plane. Came on. I was like, cool. And we first got there. We were like, yo, that shit is easy.
I've never heard.
At the same time, it's like, this nigga got a lot of authority. You know what I'm saying?
Is it the promoter? It was supposed to be the promoter.
Yeah, it was a promoter. You know what I mean? So as we go to the hotel, we happen to see the American Embassy. So we're like, yo. Oh shit, yo, let's go there and say what's up. That's what it is. Went in there and the chick was in charge. The lady that was in charge was from Harlem. Yeah. So every time, oh shit, yo, where we go? So yeah, take my number. Just on some regular shit, like invited to the show type shit. I was supposed to do 3 shows. I'm like, all right, back to back. That's what it's like. You know, I came in and out.
Yeah, we
did the first one, and he said, like, you know, he said he was telling him to cuz I didn't speak Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, that he didn't really promote the next show, and you know what I'm saying? Could we stay? And I'm like, I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, he promised to give me $30,000 a day just to chill.
Yeah, 35.
I'm like,
Just to kidnap yourself.
when you get that deep in nigga pockets on some favorite shit, it's not a good feeling. It's like, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I called my wife, and we were just out, arguing with my wife, and I guess the guy thought I was complaining about being there. And it's the first time I heard him speak English. He told Cutler, he said, if DMX is the problem, I have a problem with you. I'm like, oh shit. I see him, I'm like, yo, this is not good. You get a clip to who the nigga really is. You know what I mean? Like, he was a nice guy all the time. Facilitating nigga the whole time. Now all of a sudden you see the beats come out. Problem with you. Like, hey, you have a problem with me? So I don't have a problem with me. Like, what's wrong with you? Security niggas outside the door. The niggas knocked on the door. Was like, when we left, security niggas knocked on the door. I wonder why. I was thinking it was good security. Nah, the niggas was just keeping their eye on us. You know what I'm saying?
They was
everywhere. Yeah, work around. And niggas knocked on the door. Was like, we go to the gym. Work out. I'm like, okay, all right. Called NBC Chick. She was like, yo, this should be happening. I'm like, why you tell us from the beginning? This should be happening.
She knew this.
She was like, yeah, you know. And they said, yo, bring this shit down to the basement, the garage. You know what I'm saying? And down there, had bulletproof Suburbans. I felt like I was in a spy movie.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Show you the pull
And I couldn't fly out of there, right? I couldn't fly out of there.
Yeah, we did. What it was, America had a gas plane that would take employees to Dallas every day.
Word.
So we got on that plane.
Wow.
Plane with no name. Yeah.
That just sounds like some CIA shit.
No, yeah.
That's what I said.
In the basement. They got us in the basement.
Welcome to the show, man.
Yo, I never seen a bullet from anything until then. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so they had to hold y'all down, like, right?
Yeah. We going through security, in the plane or whatever, and for some reason they stopped cutting. What I did was I broke the money down. Like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna hold this, you hold this. Not the 30, but for the show, I was getting like $1 something. You know what I'm saying?
So you still did right by homie. You gave him back.
I didn't. He didn't give me the money. I didn't accept it. That was an offer. I'm like, let me think about it. I wasn't accepting that. Come on. I mean, it's like accepting a fucking a package of a nigga at school. You know?
Or when you go to jail and you break your cell and you got a whole carton of cigarettes to get shit. You're like, what the fuck? I can't give me cigarettes.
Honey bun?
Honey bun? Don't eat the honey drops and Oreos and shit. You don't give me hot drops. You don't even know me. You don't even know me. So I heard you're not using Damien at all no more. Damien is dead?
He's clearly not dead. But I just didn't want to highlight him as I've been. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fucking with him as much as I was. You know what I'm saying? Because, we all know who Damien is. You know what I'm saying? And the fucking with him part is mental. You know what I'm saying? So if he's up here, if he can get to you, and it comes out like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying I don't go through anything. I'm not saying that the devil ain't still on my back. You know what I'm saying? But God is more present. God is more present.
Style or substance. Somehow it became one or the other. But there is another choice. Not stopping until you have everything in the GMC Sierra. During the GMC holiday event, get a total value of over $11,700 on the Sierra 1500 model when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 20% below MSRP.
Another story that was real funny. I remember you was on this movie set. I called you one time. You was on a movie set. This is back then. And I came to the movie set to come see you, and you was driving over the movie set as I was coming to see you. But I couldn't be mad at you because you know who you drove off with?
Oh.
Aaliyah.
You
actually have Arizona? I don't remember where it was. I'm like, yeah, I thought it was LA. I thought it was Romeo on side.
No, LA. Me and Leah went to the award show together. That's
that's Hollywood. I came to see you somewhere.
Yeah, the whole
and
thing.
you see it. You was like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
how was your relationship with Aaliyah, man?
She was a beautiful person, man.
Yeah,
Beautiful
great.
person.
Everybody
Down to
knows.
earth, cool as shit, you know what I'm saying? Made me feel really comfortable. Like I said, I had that same hesitation, you know what I'm saying, when I met up with her and did the movie, you know what I'm saying? That was my next movie. I was like, a little nervous, you know what I'm saying? But she, you know, made me comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Relaxed a little bit, like, okay.
Right.
All right, kept her touch a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the walls came up. I saw she was dead. I already had something crazy.
Right.
You know, I was getting like a Benz or a Ferrari or something, you know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, I gotta go get the Rolls Royce for this situation. We going together? Okay. All right. Gotta pull that Rolls out. Put the Rolls. Make everybody mad. That was the point. That was perfect. Like, I'm gonna do 3 miles an hour. I'm gonna call a line on the street, you know what I'm saying? Make sure everybody see the situation, because it's like that. Yeah?
Now, what is it with you with cars? Like, you love cars.
Yeah, I
Like,
love cars.
you love automatic cars. You love
remote
control cars.
Yep.
So what is this like?
Nobody in my family had a car.
Wow.
Yeah.
My grandfather had a car, but he used to always fart in it.
Ooh.
So I always got a memory of cigar smoke and farts. Like he's so like I never went but no, it was no black grandfather. So I didn't have a fart. There was no break coming out of that. So nobody had a fart. So when you got of age, was that like something like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I had a fascination, especially with the old school joints. I mean, because you know, like I didn't know a thing, but I know now. But like an old school car, all you gotta do is listen to the car.
Wow.
And it'll tell you what's wrong with it. These new cars got dimmer lights, shit on the dashboard. Like I don't know what the fuck with. Right. If you start jerking a little bit, you already know what it is.
Right.
You make it a certain sound, you know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yep.
That's what the fuck is up, man. Let's ignore that, man. So man, you just recently got off of Versus.
Yes.
You and Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop.
How'd you feel about it?
I was a little hesitant at first.
Okay.
You know, because I'm like, you know, I'm a battle rapper. So it's like, this a battle? It says Versus. How do I walk into it? You know what I'm saying? You know, I fuck with Snoop. So like, nah, I can't say fuck you to Snoop. You know what I'm saying? I can't disrespect Snoop. I can't go at his head. That's Snoop. You know what I'm saying? You know, his favorite rapper. You know? So and you know, Snoop said, nah, what it is? It's just an opportunity. You know, show you, you know,
your catalog.
Right. You know, and he does his. So I'm like, oh, okay. I guess like up until like the day before, I was kind of on the fence.
On the fence.
Yeah. But it's like, all right, fuck it. Fuck it. Let's do it.
And what's for people? Because I think we only had Jada Kiss on here, right?
Yeah.
That actually did Versus. So what's the pluses and the negatives of doing Versus, if there is any?
Plus, is you remind people of what you've done throughout your career.
Yeah.
Negative, if there has to be one, would probably be the fact that there has to be a winner.
Right.
So if there's a winner, there's definitely a loser.
Do you think? I mean, they don't actually technically announce.
It doesn't seem like it.
No, but the people on the street do. Like, yo, you got homie, you did this, and you destroyed it. Like, I guess.
So what's the next move for X then?
I'm working the album, man. I got like 2 more songs to do, man.
Get out of here. And this on Def Jam. I heard you with
Def Jam.
Let's make some noise for that, man. How did that happen? Before we get into the album,
how did that happen?
Yeah.
I
mean, it's the right way. It's the right way.
With Steve Rifkin.
Steve Rifkin, is that them?
Yeah. No,
he's managing.
Yeah, I started fucking with Steve, and then the opportunity came up. I guess everybody that was working at Def Jam used to work for him on Loud. So.
Wow.
Okay.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Would you want to go back or like?
And I think I went back
crazy.
Too.
I went back too.
Yeah, I think I went back too.
Okay.
I'm trying to get a check too. I'm sneaking in some.
I really feel like the next section of this sweater is so big and broad. I can just get a bigger brush and we can knock that out in an hour or so. Hopefully. We'll do that, and then the clothes are done. Her t-shirt still has a lot more detailing to go just because she has that graphic on there. So, but I really think I'm not going to do anything else to the gray shadows on her shirt. Maybe a few more bright highlights on some of the wrinkles. We'll definitely come back onto the green sweater and do some more highlights on some of these creases and folds too. But So between today and tomorrow, well, I got that event tonight at the museum, so I probably won't be back up here today. Tomorrow, if I can knock that sleeve out, then next week we can finalize the skin tone, depending on how long that takes. Get the skin tone done, and we'll finalize the hair and glasses, finalize the clothing, and then we'll do the jewelry probably last. And then there's a couple of spots on the background that we have to fill in. There are some white spots in our hair here that should be that background color, so we'll fill that in. And I can show this part didn't get painted. I guess I taped over that whole thing and didn't paint that, so we'll have to paint this little spot with the background color as well. I think that'd be it for the background. Man, I can't wait to get some more of these prepped up. I gotta find me some more models. Maybe do a winter time one with people with gloves and mittens and scarves on or something like that. Whispers of the season. Oh, my brushes. Clean, dog. I don't think this one's clean. No, I guess it is clean. All right. All the brushes are cleaned. I try to pay attention to the details. Oh, turn this one out. Turn this one off. Okay, that's everything, right? Guys, I appreciate y'all spending y'all Saturday morning in the studio with me. Sweater's looking pretty good. I like it. Hope y'all have a good day, and we'll get together next time. Peace. We're out of here.